Oh, tsi! Ha ha! Zakhali izikhali. Kuthiwa amaNigeria abeka inkosi esihlalweni kuGompo kwelikaRharhabe. Hayibo. Kuthiwa amaNigeria abeka inkosi esihlalweni kuGompo kwelikaRharhabe madoda. Uhamham kaSitsheketshe. Untsinga kaNomagwayi wasembo. Usibala Mdaka. Kuthiwa ngusambatha zimfutshane kanti zomlingana kube zinto uthi zimfihla amadolo. Kuthiwa ngusingasiyaya mhla singasiyi mhla sisiya. Bathi nguzamazama ilizwe lizamazame. uRharhabe lowo. Butsolo bentonga. Asazi ke kwenze njani. Ama-Igbo anenkosi kwaRharhabe. Lafa ilizwe madoda sibukele. Kulonyaka uphelileyo last year ama-Igbo abeke inkosi eWestern Cape. Kulonyaka abeke inkosi kuGompo. Kulonyaka uzayaza ubeka inkosi eThekwini. Lafa ilizwe sikhangele. Yazi phambilini bekuthi xa izimpi zikaRharhabe zifunzwa, umkhosi ufunzwa yinhlaba mkhosi. Ithi tsi! Ha ha! Zakhali izikhali zikaRharhabe. Wayelungile umchunu uMacingwana ngethuba esithi mazikhale ngoba vele imikhosi ifunzwa kanjalo. Kuthiwa mazikhale abambambe bamfaka esiseleni. Zaye kukhala ngoku nithini? Ama-Igbo anenkosi eSouth Africa. Ama-Igbo anenkosi eSouth Africa. Azawulandela amaYoruba abeke yawo inkosi. Alandela ama-Edo abeke yawo inkosi. Kuzawulandela ama-Akan abeke yawo inkosi. Kungekudala nje, kungensuku zatshwala. Nina, you guys will be third citizens. Second class, third class citizens. You already are, actually. South African men are already third class citizens in the country. You guys are useless. The economy doesn't need South African men anymore. You are not participators. You're not participants in the economy. You are just online chronically. Always talking online. No action whatsoever. Today I'm coming for you, South Africans. Because you need to hear the truth. You are too drunk with stupidity. Uthe umaphorisa, hayi youngster, hey ilizwe liyahamba. Nithuleleni izinto sonakala madoda. Nithuleleni into sonakala. You are quick to fight with amaZulu. Inzule. You are quick to fight with amaXhosa. Lixhosa. You are quick. Hey madoda, you are quick to fight with amaMpondo. But ama-Igbo abeka inkosi kuthe cwaka elizweni. Kuthiwa zihlaba nje ziyalamba. Zihlabana nje ziyalamba. T4, you want to talk to me? You can just inbox me, Mos. You don't have to come to my live. I have an agenda in this live. You don't have to come to the live and be a part of the panel. If you want to talk to me about something, you need to inbox me. The live is for something else. It's not for me to talk to you. Unless you want to comment on this, which I have not even started the topic. Nina nihlabana nodwa ngoba niyalaba ngokwasemqondweni. You will fight. Hey, amashangane, inzule, iXhosa, impondo. Hey, back and forth. You are so stupid, South Africans. And the way you are so stupid, you're going to be replaced. In fact, you are already being replaced in your country. And I can say it because I'm one of you guys. You are being replaced already in your country. Europeans, in fact, the Portuguese started it. They took Limpopo, they took Mozambique. They took parts of KZN. They took parts of Eastern Cape, leaving their seeds all over. The Dutch did it with no repercussions. The English did it with no repercussions. What's going to stop the Zujerians and the Zumalis from doing it with no repercussions? People have been taking the country. The country is for the taking because the citizens are dumb. And I'm not talking about citizens based on some stupid constitution. I'm talking about citizens based on bloodlines. Your country is being taken over. It was taken over time and again. Firstly, by hordes from East Africa and Central Africa that came and replaced your people there in Limpopo. We call them Vasenzi, Basfingo. The ancestors of Ramaphosa. Where do you think those people come from? Oh, no, guys, we are one. But you're the one who's not in charge in this oneness. In this oneness, you guys are the ones who are always not in charge. It's always at your expense. How is this oneness gonna work when it's always at your expense? You always have to be the one losing. Everyone else benefits. When the Arabs came down to take this country, 900 AD, 1000 AD, 1100 AD, we were the ones who are losing. When the Moors came down here, we were the ones who are losing. When the Zani, or the people of Azania, from Eritrea down to southern Tanzania, when they came down here, we were the ones losing. We always losing. Because we just don't know how to choose ourselves. We are a stupid bunch of people, and we're going to lose everything because we are so naive. We are so naive. Right now in Eastern Cape, Amakhosi are going to protest. They're organizing a protest. What kind of Inkosi is protesting in his own land? Guys, please help me. How can Inkosi protest in his own land? Protesting against Nigerians. What kind of a protest is that? Inkosi must say a word, and the word must be obeyed. Otherwise, maskali is kali. Inkosi zase-Eastern Cape are protesting because kaloku zinkosi ezingabafundisi. Amakhosi angabafundisi, being anointed by European churches. Oh, you are a priest and a chief at the same time. Akuhlangani. Ngamazi namafutha. Ngamazi namafutha. They are organizing a protest. They're releasing statements. Oh, we condemn the actions of Igbo. Igbo people are moving, Baba. They're going to replace and they're not going to play because there are many. They are multiples of us. You know, we are just 50 million. For probably 40 million real natives in this country. If not 35. Probably 35 to 40 million actual natives. The rest are just mixed breeds and everything in between. Now, you are importing hordes and hordes of shithole dwellers who come from the most despicable environments that they've made so themselves because they've had independence since the 1960s, turned their lands into shitholes. Their countries are controlled by the Lebanese. Their countries are controlled by Arabs. Their countries are controlled by Asians. Their countries are controlled by Europeans. After they've gotten independence since the 1960s, and they want to come here and tell us how to run our business. When you go to West Africa, the Lebanese are in charge of the economic systems there. People are forced to eat dogs because they cannot afford the food because the Lebanese control the food supply in West Africa. They go, they eat humans, they eat dogs, they eat cats, and I'm telling you because I've got evidence. But then they want to come here and tell us how to run our affairs. Now they're here and tell you what, they genuinely feel like they can do a better job being natives in South Africa than you native people. It seems like they will replace you actually because you South Africans are so narrow-minded. Every day you guys discuss the exact same thing. Amampondo aphuma kusibisite, usibisite ngokanjanya, unjanya. How is it helping the situation of your people right now? Because your people are being replaced in their country. Oh Mohammed in Eastern Cape bayentabeni. Oh Mohammed bayentabeni bazimfihlo zesintu. Huh? Oh no, guys, we are one. Even your political leaders, most of them are not native South Africans. I've told you, Julius Malema, he's from Middle East, that one. His ancestors came here between 70 AD and 1100 AD. He knows it. He's a Mushabi, Al-Shabi in Yemen. They are Hebrew, they are Jews. There are many others like him. But now he's your leader. How can someone from the Middle East lead indigenous people in their own ancestral lands. Ramaphosa, he come from the Masingo. The Masingo, they crossed the Limpopo in the 1400s to replace the Wangona in Limpopo. They crossed the Limpopo just now, between 1300 and 1400. Between 1300 and 1400, the Ramaphosa lineage only crossed then, and then they took over from the Wangona. That's your Ramaphosa, the president of the country. Immigrants. And I can go to each and every one of those people who lead political parties. Majority of them have absolutely no vested interest in the continuity of this land, because their families, their clans are not here. They're in Central Africa, they're in Eastern Africa, they're in Yemen. Most of them, their fellow kinsmen are not Southern African. They are from Central Africa, East Africa, and Middle East, as well as Europe. We know it with the whites. The whites we know, and they know themselves. Majority of whites are not even the settlers. They are actually immigrants who came in the 18 and 1900s. Helen Zille, immigrant. Rob Hersoff, immigrant. Phil Craig, immigrant. Frederick, who's this bastard? Hendrik Verwoerd, immigrant. They're not even settlers, they're immigrants. And yet they run the country. The country has not actually been run by native people for any significant amount of time. The natives of South Africa have not run the country since the 1400s, when the Zanji or the Zani of East Africa came down here. In Limpopo, they called them Basenze. I see the drunk fools talking about Azania. We are not Zani people. Why you call our land Azania? I have nothing to do with Zani. The Zani were the slave traders of East Africa, from Eritrea down to Mozambique. I have nothing to do with Azania. I don't know what Azania is. Why are you naming my land Azania? This is the land of my forefathers. The natives of this country are yet to enjoy their land. Greetings to everyone. So what I'm saying is, what the Nigerians are doing in East London and everywhere else in the country, all the CBDs, they've captured them. Imagine all the CBDs of the country house aliens. All the prime lands are owned by aliens. Guys, you need to see it for what it is. It's not just a Nigerian issue. All of them are the issue. Nigerians, Europeans, Asians, and other Azanian Africans. They are all the same thing, these people. They've got a long history of selling human beings. They've got a long history of working together. And I'm including your politicians, your Ramaphosas, your Mashatiles, your Malimas. None of them actually are indigenous here. That is the truth, including these mixed race First Nation Aboriginal bastards now, who are claiming they are all bastards, all of them. Malema is a bastard, Ramaphosa is a bastard. These First Nation Aboriginal, most of them are bastards. Same thing with Afrikaners. Afrikaners are mixed breeds. They have nothing to do with this land. They're bastards who raped women in this land, producing even further bastards who are now problematic in this country. Whilst we, the children of the land, have been reduced to insignificant voices who are just shouting and fighting each other. Zihlabana nje ziyalamba. Zihlabana nje ziyalamba. And zilamba engqondweni. Our people are fighting each other daily, day in and day out, because they lack nutrition in the mind. They lack nutrition in the mind. Do you know why these people, all of them, the people who are filling our country, you know why they always look down on us? We've never been good slaves. We've always been the worst slaves. We don't have it in our hearts to obey because we are the original. We are ingas. The first. Amanqangi isiZulu. Amanqanji isiHlubi. We are ingas. We don't obey non-human creatures. We don't obey non-human creatures. That's why we call ourselves the people. Abantu, kwena. Jew. About Jew. So we've never been good slaves. So when they come to our lands, they see that we don't actually have a part in their system because their system can only accommodate us as servants, and we're just not good servants at all. We are naturally a free being. We are naturally a free people. So in their system, we have no place, guys. Let's face it. Even during apartheid, they tried. Yes, they used us here and there and all that because they took our cows and they took our ability to hunt. But ultimately, they had to import Asians. They had to import Asians from Asia. They had to import Central Africans from Central Africa. Do you understand? They had to import Chinese. We're just not going to work with their system. We are naturally a free people. We're naturally a free people. And you need to understand it. We don't fit into their system of white supremacy. But here's the thing. This is not the home for their system. Ngaremap is not a home for their system. Our land is not a home for their system. Ningism is not a home for their system. They must go and practice their system elsewhere. Now, you've got American half-castes and mulattoes who call themselves white, by the way. White is not a real thing. It's a construct, just like black. All these things are not real. White, black, colored, same thing. It's all mixed breed, non-South African indigenous people. All these people who come with these labels are not from here. Our ancestors told us who we are. That's it. Our ancestors will tell you, that's what ancestors told us. They didn't tell us, you are black, you are African in particular. Blah. Yay! Go to North Africa if you want Africans. There's still a place called Ifriqiya there. It was a Roman province. Then you find Africans there. I am going to take an identity that has no meaning in my culture and in my language. I'm sorry, I'm not going to call myself African because it's just it's not a word that exists in my language. I will not be labeled by outsiders as to who I am. And I will not tick some stupid box in some stupid government form to tick black because my ancestors didn't tell me about that. In my culture, being black simply means you don't have royal blood and you don't have spiritual abilities. You are a civilian. Being red in my culture means you are a traditionalist, but also you have royal blood. Being white in my culture simply means you are connected to the bones. So, it has nothing to do with race. All these ideas of white, colored, black, it's their ideas. They must keep them. We don't want those nonsensical things. They must keep their whiteness, they must keep their blackness, and they must keep their coloredness. They invented those things for their own reasons, but not in Ngaremap. Not in this land of our forefathers. We have to reclaim the primal rights to this land. Because now you guys are going with each and every nonsense you are hearing out there. They tell you about Bantu migration. Oh, we are Bantu. We came from West. Not me. I didn't come from West Africa. If your ancestors came from West Africa, hug. Go to Kamfan. Hug. You're not an indigenous person. If your ancestors came from East Africa, hug. As buyele masiswini. Come and moment senge bheka mfanam. Oh ha. Buyela kokwenu ndoda. Now we are taking back what is ours. I said to you, when the Portuguese came to South Africa in 1486, they came with Portuguese, their language. They named places with Portuguese names. That's why you have Cabo de Esperança, the Cape of Good Hope, in Portuguese, because they named it. To this day, the Cape of Good Hope is still there. That's why they came with Natal, Rio de Cobre for Limpopo, the River of Copper. All these names are there because they came with them. So there's no doubt that the Portuguese were here, because there's evidence everywhere. Rio do Infanta in Eastern Cape for Ixesi. There's no doubt about it. Saldanha Bay, Delagoa, Algoa. All these are Portuguese. This is evidence that the Portuguese were here. When the Dutch came here, they came with Dutch. And names like Delft, names like Leiden, names like Utrecht, names like Vryheid are clear evidence that these people were here. When the British came here, they came with their British culture and place names. Newcastle is a place in Britain. Athlone is a place in Britain. Somerset, that's British. Motherwell, it's in Britain. East London, we all know London. That is evidence that the British came from Britain, and you can always link. When the Germans came here, they came with their German names. In Eastern Cape, there's a place called Berlin. There's a place called Berlin in Eastern Cape. There's a place called Stutterheim. All these are German names in reference to the Germans. When the French came, to this day, there's a place called Franschhoek. Their surnames are evidence of that. Duplessis, Dutoit, what people call Detroit is Dutoit. Dinel, all these are French names, evidence to French presence. However, where are these Central African names? I haven't seen a river called Congo here. I need to see a river called Congo here in South Africa. Not even one river is Congo. However, the rivers you find where we stay, you find rivers like Umhlatuze. Congolese don't know how to pronounce that word. They don't know how to pronounce that word, which is also Hluhluwe. You find rivers like Ngangaho and Kakadu. Ebecha, Debecha. Places like Akuba. Places like Nkandla. Places like Mutu. Guys, places like Kwak. Obviously, the people who name places name it because it's who they are. That's their language. They name it on other places. That's why you can still find places like Kwanuka and Ngukwebe. You go to Congo and find me Kwanuka. Find me Ngukwebe. Find me Umcha. What's Buffalo River in IsiXhosa? It's Qonce. There's two names for Buffalo River. Qonce and Gqorha. Both names are fine. But in Xhosa proper, it's Qonce. And then in the language of Amaqunukwebe, it was Gqorha. Even the name Limpopo. You know, it's Skunkia, it's Nguni. Limpopo is Nguni. In Chivenda is Vembe. It's Vembe. Limpopo is Nguni from the word Uguti po. To gush out. Ugupopoza. Or Impopoma. Limpopo, the river with a waterfall. Simply means that. And the river that overflows. The evidence now of people who came from the south and went up is there. Go to Zimbabwe. You see Kwabulawayo. It's taken from a place in KZN. You see places like Mtwagazi. We know those names. Go to Mozambique. You see Gasa. Gasa is an indigenous word. It means to rule over others. It means to be very wise and intelligent over others. That's what Gasa means. Literally, it means that Gasa, to rule, to conquer others. Ugugasela, it's another form of saying Uguhlasela. That's why they call Ushaku so Gasa, no Gasela. You understand? Wahlasela is this. The names that the people who came from the south took with them when they went up are still evidence that they came from the south. Where are the names from the north that we don't see here? Only the indigenous people can help with that question. That's because the vast majority of the indigenous people of South Africa never came from anywhere else. What you have is that between 500 BC and 1100 AD, the indigenous people of this country or of the Central and Southern African region. Start from the Congo, Southern Tanzania, coming down. The truth is that click languages were spoken all the way to Somalia, all the way to the Sahara Desert. Truth is, people who used to speak in clicks used to exist from the Cape Point to the Horn of Africa. The Hadzabe and the Sandawe are the last remnants. There were even more. There were even more. Go and search up the Sandawe peoples. In fact, I can even find words in Sandawe and in Hadzabe that are still similar to Southern African words. In Hadzabe, when they talk about the small finger, they say chikichane. We say chikichane. In Hadzabe, when they talk about a dog, they say kanka. We also say ikanka. Now, here's another thing. Linguistically now, if you look at Central African languages, if you understand how sounds work, how consonants work, harsh sounds tend to disappear over time. Meaning that the sounds that are softer tend to be derived from sounds that were harsher. So a will be softened over time to a t. That's why you have o for a lion, which becomes tau for a lion, which gets softened even further now through nasalization and become ndau. Do you understand that the older the sound, the stronger it is? So we can say without any doubt is a much older version of the word than tau, which is older than ndau. You have kose, which gives us kos, which gives us inkosi. It's a word that means the ruler. Someone was saying, no, the word inkosi comes from Congo. It means lion. Here's the thing. Ask anyone from Congo to break that word down to its elements. Not even a single soul will be able to do that. Because they receive the word as a full package. I know the word in its elementary form. It's khus or khosi. It comes from khu, which means to be rich, to be powerful, to be above others. We use it for kamata, khu aumata, khu Lord, rich. Auma is another form of auba, a father. Ta, all. Khu aumata or kwamata, the father of all or the rich lord of all. Same thing with inkosi, khusi. That's why you have words like khosi with a guttural sound. It comes from khosi. Then you get it as khosi. Khosi. And then it gets codified further to ngosi. It has another form like gaub or ghost. Ghost is inkosi. We also have it in gaushi, in isiXhosa. There's a chief who was called Benjamin Nyango. His other name was Gaushi Qili. Gaushi Qili. Gaus is to rule over. Qili is what is this? Qili man, the Black River. Ngu, si ngu. You know, they say Orange River. It's Black River. It's ngu. Literally, ngu means black. It's where you get your nsu from. Gaushi Qili. Gaus Qiri, to rule over the Orange River. So Nkosi and Khosi are literally the same word. Just one is guttural. One is nasalized. Nk. They come from Khosi, a ruler, a lord. And then you're going to tell me, no, it's from Congo, you know, it's lion. Oh my goodness. Even Ngonyama comes from a click form, Kanyama. Kanyama is a lion. Kanyama means the crying, roaring one. Oh, goodness gracious. You know, the problem with these discussions is that someone is here debating with me. They don't even know 1% of what they're talking about. They just want to prove some stupid point so that they can align with some European theory from Willem Bleek and Green and Lucy Lloyd. That is the dumbest nonsense I've heard in a while. I say to you, we welcomed people from Central and Eastern Africa. Some of them were called the Zvimba people, the Lion people. This is one clan that we know came from Congo. We know it. I was told, I learned this as well, that there's a clan known as Amazimba. But they are not Zimba originally. Originally, they are Abengo from Congo. They came through Zimbabwe and went through to the east to work with the Portuguese to raid slaves. Those people. They're called the Zvimba people, the lion or leopard people. That's one group that came down. The second group that came down earlier now is Yozani people, the people of Azania. People of Azania, the Zanyi people, Ramaphosa comes from those people. The Vasenzi in Chivenda. Within the Vasenzi, there's a branch known as Masingo, the Singo people, where Ramaphosa comes from. You know, the name Ramaphosa means Usomaphosa. Lo waphosa imikhonto eyamanye amadoda inyamalala owakho umkhonto wasala usima. That's Ramaphosa's izithakazelo zakhe. Uphuma kumatamela ozele usomaphosa. So the Ramaphosa clan is the Singo people. The Singo come from the Basenzi. The Basenzi are the people who were welcomed into Limpopo Shashe. They were welcomed by the indigenous of Limpopo, the Wangona. The Wangona are the indigenous. Same thing with the Bapedi. You get the Bakoni. And this is where now you find the root of Botswana and Basotho. From that Bakoni. I don't care. Today you'll find Botswana who lie and say they come from East Central Africa, from Middle East. They're so delusional. No, we come from Abraham, from Middle East. No, you're not. You're coming from Matieng. You come from Matieng, at the border of Botswana in South Africa and Namibia. There's a river there. There's a place known as Tweerivieren in Afrikaans. Tweerivieren. This means two rivers. The name of that place is Kakankus in Ngcuki. The name of the origin of Botswana is Kakankus in Ngcuki. They call it Matieng, the land of the Bakoni. We call it Kakankus. This is where Amaxhosa get the name Kakang. Amakakang are the people who came from that region. People who originated in Kakankus. Who are those people? One, the Uni. The Uni people, which we call Nguni. We call Bakoni. We call Wangona. Let me explain this Nguni thing. I'm going to explain it one more time. It's Uni in Unkia. It's Onin in Kwedam. It's Ona in Eastern Cape Kwe. It's Unu in Transkei Kwe. It's Nguni. What does it mean? Think about it this way. Oni or Onin or Unu or Kona means high. It means elevated. Like in isiXhosa, we will say a leader of something or the boss of something or a principal in a school. There's a word we use. We say ngununu. Ngununu. It's Onin. It's Onin. That's why in Namibia they call themselves Onin Kais. Oh, ngununu. Onin Kais. You also have in Limpopo people who say ebukoni, phezulu, eburwa, ezansi. Bukoni, elevated, high, above. So Nguni really means top dweller, highlander, elevated height dwelling people. People who dwell above or high or who live on high ground as opposed to low ground. It doesn't mean north, it means high. You could still be high in the south. High is height above something. It's not a cardinal point in a compass. I repeat, for those who do not understand geography, Phezulu for high is not as Phezulu for enhla. It's Guni or Guna. It's the people who are occupying high ground. Abantu bahlala kumathambeka, facing the east so that they can see the enemies coming. That's it. That's why you have the name Guni Kweb. Guni Kweb. Indoda eyinqununu. High Lord. That's what Guni Kweb means. I will talk about that Nala. I will talk about that. That's your Chote. That's Chote, Kwaikwe, and Anu. I will talk about that. So Gunikweb, actually, if you go to Namibia, you will find people known as Ainin. Ainin people. Their oldest king is a man called Gunukweb. I repeat, in Namibia, the Ainin people, their oldest king is a man called Gunukweb. You go to Eastern Cape, you find the same people, Gunukweb. Today, they are confused. They think Gunukweb were made by Uchiwo. How could they be made by Uchiwo? When in 1689, when Isaac Schrijver was sent by Simon van der Stel from the Cape Colony, 1689, he went to Eastern Cape. He met with the Heikum people and the Drinkwa people of Uinzad and the Magiko. He met with those people. They told him that, see here, we've got people known as Nama. In Eastern Cape, I'm not talking about Namibia. Nama people, Eastern Cape. Kubutwa people, Eastern Cape, which is what you guys call Xhosa today. Namunkwa, Eastern Cape. Damakwa, Eastern Cape, which is what you guys call Gunukwebe today. Gunukwa, Eastern Cape, also Gunukwebe today. So Gunukwebe is a combination of these groups who were independent in the 1600s. So when they say, oh, Sukwini, Gamagunukwebe, Ngahwane, Gamagunukwebe, these people were independent. Anyone who tells you that Sukwini is the brother of Ngahwane and then they were twins with Ugwasho, that person, that person is lying. They made it up themselves. They made it up themselves. Sukwini, they're Kham. They're from the Sneerberg Mountains. The Karu. They come from the Karu, what we call Kham Dibu. The Green Valley, Kham Dibu. That's what Sukwini are. They were once called Sokwa or Sonkwa. The name Sukwini literally tells you, dwell in the mountain. The people who dwell in the mountain. Kauken is the mountain. Ikauka. Stones. Hills. Kauken. Sua is to sit down. Like tuwa. To sit down. Kui or Quini is plural for people. Like Kwena. Quen. Plural for people. So Kauken Swakwin is the people who dwell in the mountains. That's the name Sukwini. It's simple. It's Kham people. That's why they call themselves Khwama. And the Sukwini must claim this bloody lineage of theirs. We can't always be telling Sukwini the same thing every life. Sukwini, you are Kham. I'm not begging you to be Kham. You are. Otherwise, they are vultures, Baba. They are taking that identity and they are claiming to be First Nation, Aboriginal, whatever they call themselves in Parliament. And Ramaphosa, the descendant of the Basenzi, of the single clan, he's approving this nonsense together with Gayton McKenzie, who was claiming to be Japanese, Irish, telling us he has green eyes and blue eyes just a few months ago. He's the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. How can the Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture not be someone who's indigenous? I told you, your country is being led by foreigners. And you're wondering why these foreigners were in charge of this country. Why these foreigners are allowing more foreigners to come in so that they can outnumber the indigenous. So Sukwini, independent Kham. Washu, these ones you can find them amongst the Kora. Igwashu, yimbiza yodaka, yimbiza yodongwe. It's a pot that is made with clay. It's pottery. People who there was pottery specialists, Gwash. There were pottery specialists. Gwa is clay. Shu is a pot. Gwashu. Gwashu ice in Kora. They're not some small brother of Sugwini. It's independent groups, man. Amangahwane, they kept cattle. Inkomo ezibomvu namhlophe. Amangahwane. Amagqunukhwebe. Now, it's a combination of Kainin, Damakwa, Damasonkwa, and Nama people. Why do you think Amakwecha or Taha or Vambani have Nama heritage? Where do you think that heritage comes from? Where do you think Gaga get their Nama heritage from? Because Nama people are indigenous in the Eastern Cape. You guys think people who are from the Eastern Cape don't exist in other places? Wait until you hear about the Chwawu people in Zimbabwe and Botswana and the Chwawu people in Mampondweni, Nase Nagwakos, Chwawu, Dei, Ndenza Kalau. Chwawu, salt pen. It's a salt pen. People who dwell in salt pen areas. Kwe chube. Kwe is a person. Chube is the salt. Chube, ichuwa. Kwe chube, salt people. Esibe, people of Inhlabathi, abantu bonqweme. People who live by the beach or amongst sand. Could be desert. Esibe. That's why Esibe in KZN rightfully claim ukuthi bangabantu abona. In fact, even in Eastern Cape, some amaXesibe remember that bangabantu. Hayi ngoXesibe thina omthwa, omkhuma. Amaqhe ala unithathela imihlaba ningenangqondo nje. Banithathela imihlaba ningenangqondo nje. And this forced Bantu migration nonsense. There's only one group that's losing. I don't care who says what. In Bantu migration, forcing you guys to be Bantus, whatever that means, Tina has Abantu people, forcing you guys to be black, which they designed. You know what black means, Mosne? Black doesn't mean dark-skinned person. No matter how much you deny that, you did not invent the identity called black. Europeans invented it for you, and you just took it. So it's not up to how you look at it. It's already a defined identity. Being black simply means not being white. Non-white is black. That's it. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why in the BEE scheme, the Indians are benefiting more than you. The Indians are chowing BEE money more than you. You guys are stuck in townships. Our people are stuck in townships. Maragutwa BEE. It's benefiting Indians more. Go to KZN and see. Benefiting colors more. Go to Cape Town and see. People, black people, indigenous South Africans are stuck. Kwalanga, nase Guguletu, Esamora Machel, nase Philippi. They are stuck in Kailija with no water and electricity. And then they're shouting, oh, BEE. The Europeans are chowing more from BEE than you. They are getting more from the state. This state that is run by the ANC benefits white people more than it benefits any indigenous person in this country. It benefits Indians more than it benefits any indigenous person. It benefits colors more than it benefits any indigenous person. It benefits Somalis, it benefits Nigerians, it benefits Zimbabweans, it benefits Angolans, it benefits every single bloody alien in this land of our ancestors than it benefits any indigenous person. Do you know why? Because the ANC was captured long ago. The Chinese are black, bro. Indians are black. Colors are black. You guys are new to this black identity. You are the newcomers in this black identity. Black was there before you guys even knew about it. That's why I always ask, why are you taking identities that you don't even know? Your ancestors told you, good eye, you are Kwati. Hold on to that Kwati identity because that's the key to understanding that, damn, there's quite queer people that used to be here. What could be the link? As I told you, there's Nukan people there. Could we be the same? Oh, there's Asakwe people. Could we be the same? But you are throwing away that identity. You are taking identities that come from outside of your ancestry. Black, African. Now you are lost now. Your kids don't even know who they are. Your kids don't know who they are. Your kids don't know who they are. They're giving birth to Nigerian Igbo babies. And those Igbo babies are going to take this country over. And in the is Kazolo. This is Kazolo. Ha ha ha. I'm laughing because says I'll know umswane kulomhlaba. Because indigenous people have forsaken their identity and they will suffer for it. Until you guys come back to who you are, you will be slaves, even to your African brothers. So basically, Africa can never be united. What is Africa though? What is Africa? You see, you need to question these things. What is Africa to begin with? Because the people you want to unite with, they would have sold you without second thought, not more than 200 years ago. The same people you are trying to unite with in Mozambique, in northern Mozambique, were selling your people who were captured by the Tembe and the Swati and being sold to Portuguese. Why do you want to unite with your slave traders? Why do you want to unite? Who told you about this uniting nonsense? Because the people who are at the forefront of uniting Africa, they themselves are not native to this land. They come from Middle East. They've got brothers and sisters in all these lands. That's why they need to unite, so that they can have access to these networks that they used to sell slaves through. Why you want to unite? Unite with who? You don't even know who you are, but you want to unite with everything else. I'm not saying you must hate other people. Know yourself. You don't even know yourself. You are busy. Africa must unite. Those people have been selling slaves for thousands of years. And they're already selling your sisters. Why are South African indigenous women disappearing left, right, and center? They came to your country. They saw these women are ripe. These women are ripe. We're going to violate your women. We're going to use them as vessels to breed our seeds. And your women are the perfect vessels for them. They're breeding left, right, and center, and you are being replaced. The men of this country are the most useless, the most broken men I've ever seen, because you don't think with your heads. In 20 years, you and dance left, right, and center. You don't want to think and see that the country is being taken. I'm breathing, don't worry. Someone is asking me, can I talk to the chiefs? You see, first and foremost, the Xhosa chiefs themselves must remove that European blood in their bodies, because they have mixed with Europeans for too long, the Xhosas. Uyese was busy sleeping with Conrad Debice. Unqika was busy sleeping with the Europeans, being promised young European girls. Young European girls busy selling the land of my forefathers, welcoming Europeans into his house. They even call them Amabandla Akonibe, Amakhweqo Akonibe. Amakhweqo Akonibe. Why do you call them the people of Nonibe, Europeans? They even name their children the Xhosa kings. Don't play. Name their children. Ngufeni. Ufeni is Finn. They name their children Makeleni, John McKellen. They name their children Makinana, McKinnon. I'm sorry, but I don't have respect for people who are stupid. I have no respect whatsoever. I respect my father more. At least he told me that we used to live in the caves. He told me that Singabatwa. He told me. In fact, my father's nickname is Busman. So I respect that more because he did not tell me that we come from Congo or Northeast Africa. See, ha, ha. This was the call when the armies are gonna fight. Today, the kings don't even have armies to begin with. They don't even have armies. They're just kings, just getting drunk every day. They're not even sober. So I'm sorry, but the kings can go to hell. And I will not apologize for that. There is no king of mine who doesn't know who they are. I will only respect someone who respects who they are. If you're gonna come here and be preaching nonsense, oh guys, peaceful democracy, then you are not indigenous. I'm sorry. Someone lied to you. Go back where you come from. You're not indigenous. We know who came here. We know who came here. We know the Amamolo are descendants of Moors. They're here in Eastern Cape. We know the Abelu are descendants of Portuguese plus British. They are here in Eastern Cape. We know the Scotch are descendants of Scottish. They are here in Eastern Cape. We know the Dawkins, the Roscrucians, the Spaldings, the Barms are all descendants of Europeans. We know that. Amalawu are mixed with Malaysians. We know it. Amakheya are bastards. We know it. We know who came from elsewhere. We know it, guys. We know in KZN there's people from Zanzibar, the Amazamzamban, the Zanzibaris. Even here in Eastern Cape, we know people came from Ethiopia, and most of them are colored today. We know in Limpopo, the Basenzi came from East Africa originally. Long ago, though. Long ago, the Basenzi, who form a significant portion of the Venda people and the Kalanga and the Karanga peoples. Even amongst the Watsonga, we know there are indigenous Tsonga, your Tswa, your Hlengwe, your Hlungwani, your Chauke. Those are indigenous people. We know they welcomed other people. They welcomed other people who came, who are part of the Kalanga group. Now, the Kalanga, fortunately for them, were welcomed and they intermingled with our indigenous people. That's why we have places like Umtwagas, Butwa in Zimbabwe. Many Kalanga, for the most part, in my opinion, naturalized and became, descendants of the indigenous people. Siabazi, Abakajantoni, the Dans. We know the Ogles. Hey, there's a famous Ogle there from Big Brother. That's a descendant of a European straight. The Ogles, the Dans, the Roscrucians. We know I'm Irish, I'm French. The Goss, some of them call themselves Gag. And then in Limpopo, you've got a huge population of Middle Easterners. The Salefu in Limpopo are the Al Salif. The Salefu, Al Salif. We've got the Bashabi, the Al Shabi. And there's many. We've got the Senors. Yes, the Senor, the Portuguese descendants amongst the Tsonga. They call them Senor. Signolo. It's a Portuguese title. In fact, Mozambique is Musa ibn Bikwe. It's an Omani merchant, an Arab. Mozambique even had a Moor as a king at some point. The Vatonga of Gwambi, my brother Mukaranga wa Gwambe, my good brother there, he come from those people. At some point, they have Portuguese ancestors, the Gwambi. The Karanga who are Gwambi, they have Portuguese ancestors. My brother Mukaranga wa Gwambi, if you are here, you can join. You will show us your hair. They can see you have Portuguese blood there. I'm mentioning all of this for one reason only. To say to you, we know who's who. Now, why do you follow the Bantu migration as if we don't know who's who? I repeat, why are you following the Bantu migration nonsense as if we do not already know who's who? We know who's who. We know who came with the Portuguese. We know who came with the Arabs. We know who came with the Asians. There are many Asians in this country. Usibiside nonjanya, usibiside gwakwamkhize. Usibiside wakwamkhize. Usoga. Utiyo Soga, who was trained in Scotland by the missionaries, lied to you guys and said Uklesibe was imfusi yamampondo. Hey, that's nonsense, man. Amampondo have always been where they are. Amampondo abukudalepa. Amampondo mise kudalepa. Amaklesibe madala. These people are not twins. They don't come from Sibiside. Sibiside lived just now, probably in the 1600s, if not early 1700s. Has nothing to do with the Amampondo. It's mythology, nonsense. Bantu migration did not happen. Nobody in the Congo knows about it. Nobody in Uganda knows about it. Nobody in Zambia knows about it. Nobody in Malawi knows about it. Hell, nobody in South Africa knows about it. Or Botswana, or Namibia. I said to you, we know who's who. We know who came when. I said there are people who came from East and Central Africa. The Zani, who the name Azania comes from. The Zani people. That's why the Arabs use Alzania, which means the coast of the Zani. The Zani are basically a mixture of Central Africans with Arabs and Horners, the people from the Horn of Africa. The people from the Horn of Africa mixed with Central Africans, the Basenji. That's why you have the Senji dog there. You see that dog called the Basenji dog? It's Basenji. It means the wild people's dog. Abasendle. That's what Azania means. Asendle, Alzania, the Senji people. So the Senji people, Abasendle, Central Africans, mixed with Arabs on the coast. Some are sold into slavery as the Sidis in Bangladesh and India. So Abasenzina come to Southern Africa through the east. And they mix with other populations that are there in Zambia and Malawi, in places like Urewe, in places like Nkope. These people mix with those populations in Malawi, in Urewe and Nkope, and they mix with your Chwa. Listen to me, guys, so that I don't have to repeat it. The Basenzi come, they mix with your Chwa, they mix with other Urewe and Nkope populations, then they come down as the Kalanga, already mixed with Chwa people and Mbote peoples and Baka people. So when you look at the Kalanga today, you will find Chwa DNA. You will find Chwa DNA. You will find Mbote DNA, which comes from the Central African Twa people. So the Kalanga are not just pure East Africans. No, they are a mixture of East Africans and Twa people from Central Africa and the Chwa peoples of Southern Africa. So when the Kalanga then comes together, they come and dwell amongst your Chwa. We call them Abe Chwawu. We call them Amachawe. Chwawe. We call them Amachawe. You understand? The princes, the noble people. They mix with Kalanga. Where do you think you get the name Umalangana? Yes, then that's where you get Butwa. It's Abantwana Babatwa with some Kalanga people. This is why Jan van Riebeeck there in the Cape, that criminal called Jan van Riebeeck, who was punished to come here, when he met with the Inikwa and the Kochokwa, They told him that there's people known as Kobona. Kobo means the sun. It's the people Omalangana. That's what Kobona means. It's Omalangana. That's what. So they told Jan van Riebeeck that there's people called Omalangana. They have gold. They were telling him about the Chwa who mixed with the Kalanga. Basically, the Xhosa ancestors who had access to gold and copper. Jan van Riebeeck was obsessed with that. He wanted to confirm that there's really gold in South Africa. Yes, there's been gold here. There's been the oldest gold mines are older than some European nations have existed. The nonsense that they discovered gold, the gold rush. Gold, they knew gold. Even in the 1600s when they came, they knew there was gold in the country. They didn't just discover it in the 1800s. Stop being delusional. So when Simon van der Stel, the guy after whom Stellenbosch is named, when he sent Isaac Shriver in 1689 to Eastern Cape, he wanted to find the gold. Fortunately, he did not find it. Fortunately, he did not find the gold. Then the Kalanga are basically a mixed group of Central African Basenzi and your Chwa and some other communities, your Urewe communities. Now, here's the thing. Within the Kalanga, they will tell you there was another group that came again. And the Kalanga say it's the Shona. But here's the Shona is a horde of many different groups. So within the Shona, you find Bazezuru, you find Bakaranga, you find Barosvi, you find Bamanyikeni, you find Bakorekore. It's many different groups. Some of them feel like others colonized them. You understand? I remember I was on this live with them, with Shona speaking communities. Hey, they are fighting. You Karanga, you colonized us. The other ones is like, you Zezuru, you colonized us. So even amongst them, they didn't come at the same time. Others were more on the eastern side, like Yomanyikeni. Yomanyikeni had more connection with the Portuguese. They worked a lot with the Portuguese. That's why even amongst some Shona people, you find European blood. Others worked closely with the Moors. In fact, some Shonas are descendants of Moors, some Shonas are descendants of Arabs, and some Shonas are descendants of Portuguese. That is the truth. Morena Maponga must tell us, Yena, where he comes from. That the Joshua Maponga must tell us. Apparently, he's an Arab, for that matter. Guys, you must remember, at the fall of Mapungubwe, which Mapungubwe was one of our greatest civilizations between 700 AD to 12 to 1300, we were trading gold amongst each other. But not just gold, everything else. What happened is, a group crossed the Limpopo River. When that group crossed the Limpopo River, they went and took over Limpopo. That group is the ancestors of Cyril Ramaphosa. I still repeat. The people who are in Mapungubwe are not the ancestors of Cyril Ramaphosa. But the people who are in charge now in Limpopo are the ancestors of Cyril Ramaphosa. The Basenzi. They are the ruling people now there. Between 700 AD and 1300, we're trading amongst each other. We're trading with Asians still through the eastern coast. So you have Mapungubwe and then you have Chibuene on the eastern coast in the mouth of the Limpopo. Remember, Limpopo is an indigenous word. It comes from po, kwinkia, po, to gush out, huporora, in Sikoni, ukupopoza, in Isinguni, impopoma. That's what Limpopo is. They have a vendor called it Vembe. I think in Xitsonga it has its own name. Now we call it Impopoma or Popoza or the Po River or Popo. In Kham is Opo. Opo. That's what Limpopo is. So you had Mapungubwe. It goes all the way to the coast through Chibuene. It goes down from Mapungubwe to Chibuene. It goes down all the way to because these networks are from Eastern Cape, Western Cape to Limpopo back to Chibuene. That's why they told Jan van Riebeeck that there's people who have gold and we consider these people our kings. Go and read Jan van Riebeeck's diaries, guys. I repeat, the Qinikwa in what we call Cape Town, well, not really Cape Town, but Western Cape, they told Jan van Riebeeck in the 1600s that their kings were inland and their kings were a bit darker and they had gold. And they call them Kobona. I tell you, Kobona refers to Umalangana or his descendants thereof. That is finished and clear. The Qinikwa viewed these people as their kings. The Qinikwa didn't talk about Bantu migration. The Qinikwa didn't talk about Bantu invaders. No indigenous person has spoken about Bantu invaders. It's only the imposters who talk about that, because then imposters have to be victims first so that they can replace. No actual indigenous individual with any sense at all will use such claims. Only imposters who don't know who they are, or they do because they've known for the past 20 years, they're always claiming German ancestry. Just because you are light-skinned and you've got small hair, it doesn't mean anything. You do know that people from Bangladesh look exactly like that. People from Indonesia are light-skinned, they've got small eyes. It doesn't mean you are indigenous. Being indigenous doesn't mean you have small eyes. You must know what bloodline you come from. Don't come here claiming nonsense. They're claiming now they are Kwanuka. No, we are the Kwanuka of Steerman. Let me show you what Kwanuka people look like. Now that is a Kwanuka person. Now that is a Kwanuka person who's not mixed. That's a real Kwanuka person. You can never be able to differentiate between a Kwanuka and a Chawe. This is a Kwanuka. Unless you look like this, you can't claim to be Kwanuka. Kwe. I'm sorry. Look at that. It says Giovin, Hottentoto, Gonaches. This is a Kwanuka. I see people trying to claim now, we are Konakwa. People don't talk about us. These are Kwanuka people, man. These are they are. They speak something that sounds like it's a cause. That's why we call them Ama Kwanukwebe today. This is where the name Nguni comes from. It's a codification of Kunu. To this day, they are there in Eastern Cape, Transkei, Ama Kwanuka Kon. These are Kwanuka, Kwe people. I just see a good opportunity to correct something quickly. I see a good opportunity to correct something quickly here. Every single live, I have to correct this. Fourth political theory. Please pay attention. You say even the XAM Bantsundu. Now, I don't know what the XAM refers to. Now, here's the thing. These names for people are very specific. XAM in Kungia means lion. It's Kham. When you say XAM, it's Kham because Kui languages are written with an international phonetic alphabet. Because there's so many sounds, you can't write those sounds with the conventional Roman letters. So X is X is So when you write XAM, you're writing Kham, you're saying lion. Even the lion are in Bantsund. No, lion is an animal. What you're referring to is Kham. Kham. It's a long line with XAM next to it. Now that's Kham people. But Kham is an animal. It's the oryx gazelle, which is like related to the harpies. It's Kham. So when you say Kham, think about it, Kham. It's Kham. Yes, that's correct. Kham and then dash and then KA space exclamation mark KE. Khamkaqe. That's the correct way to write it. What is Khamkaqe? E means people. Go to the South African coat of arms. E is people. Like Izik in. Kham is the oryx gazelle. And then dash Ka. Ka means belonging to. Like Ka Madigani. Ka so and so. So it's Khamka, which means of the Kham. The people. So Khamka simply means the people of the Kham animal. Now, how do they look? That is the point that you are making here, that they are Gabantu Bantsundu. Absolutely, I will show you something quickly here. These are Cham people. These are proper Cham people. Ne? When you talk about Cham people, you must think about these people here. Correct? These are indigenous people of this land. In fact, their language is very, 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 very close. Very close to isiXhosa. What is the difference between Kwe and Kui? It's the same, it's just different dialects. Now, I want to show you, there's a gentleman there who looks like Ubonga, the homeless person. There's a gentleman there who looks like Ubonga, the homeless guy. These are Cham people, Cham Kakwe, proper ones. In Cham, when they refer to mixed race people, they call them Ayen. They call them Ayen in Cham. This is the closer word, Amakheya. They don't call them Cham. They don't call them Aboriginal. They don't call them First Nation. They call them Ayen, the mixed race people. Amakheya. And if you are closer, you know what is Amakheya. Please, guys, tell everyone what is Amakheya there in the comments so that they know who are the Ayen. In Cham, that means bastards. Look at Bonga, B-O-N-G-A there. The homeless guy, he looks like one of these people. He has this phenotype. There's one here on the side. Unfortunately, I'm unable to capture. The one on the side looks very much like Thabo Mbeki. His face is not visible. Hey, he looks like Thabo Mbeki. Now you take this face, ne? Take these faces and take this old man. I'll show you another old man. Take this closer old man here. You will see this is the same phenotype. Similar phenotype. Take these ones here. Take this one here. So, and then take this one. This is not an indigenous person. This is a guy from Asia. People who look like this now are going to tell you they are indigenous. This is an Asian person. Not mixed, nothing like that. Asian, straight. The hair tells you. So you look like this, you think you are Cham. You're not Cham, Baba. You are Asian. And this is an Asian, a man called Buddha Safar Jafar, who came here from Java. This is where some of your ancestors are from. So stop claiming our ancestors as your ancestors. These are our ancestors now. In fact, he looks like my neighbor growing up. These are Bafu gang. These are Bafu gang. Today they are busy wearing blankets from the Queen of England. Confused about who they are. They don't know they used to look like this. Hey man, it's so sad, you know? It's so sad sometimes. Hi, Rona, we come from Middle East. That's what the Bafu gang will tell you today. We come from Middle East. Abraham. But here, you don't look like Middle East, my people. I'm sorry. Bafu gang, this is you. You're not coming from Middle East. Don't be confused by the blanket that Queen Elizabeth gave you. You come from the caves, Baba. You're dwelling in caves. You are hunters. You are hunters. You're not from Middle East. You're not from the Sumerians. Whoever lied to you that you come from the Sumerians, they were playing with your minds. You're from here, Baba. You're not going anywhere. You are stuck with your indigenous identity. Bafu gang, you are stuck with your identity. You must accept it. Batokwa, you are stuck with your identity. You must accept it. Nina bakwazungu, you are cave dwellers. You must accept it. Emaqungebeni, abakwasibiya, amachunu, amachube, Amachamani, Amaqwabe, all of you accept your identity. You are indigenous cave dwelling people. You are moving around. You are hunters. That's what you are. You're not some great empire. Like, hey, stop lying to us here. But yabantu bakwamsimang, the Msimang people say, Tina sabamba indlu kaDlomo sayihlanganisa singabathwa abafungu nonkosi. Amangwane are indigenous mosakiri kibankwana. They are indigenous amangwane. They are indigenous. I don't know why Amaswati they or Dlamini Malangeni they took that name now. Now you no longer get Amangwane as an indigenous, as a separate group. So I wanted to explain then that's what Tram, it's Tramkakwe. It's not just Tram, it's Tramkakwe. And then Kwe is just Kwe. It's not Kwekam whatever. Those are gibberish words. Kwekam is gibberish. It doesn't exist. Yeah. So now, when you get now Igbo people in South Africa crowning a chief, that tells you just how detached the native people are from owning their land. The native people are so detached, they don't even care actually. The native people don't even care that the Igbo just crowned the chief. What you're gonna have now, because a lot of Igbos have gone to the mountain already in the Eastern Cape, and because the men can't have a stand. I told you the men are useless already. They don't have economic power. So when the mother of the child, who has sold the country by breeding a child, a Igbo child, the mother says, take my child to the mountain. Although the father is present. Why should the child go to the mountain when the father is present? That child doesn't belong to Xhosa culture anymore. Esintwini, particularly for the Xhosa people, you can only claim your mother's bloodline if your father is unmarried or not even present in your life. Basically, you are an orphan. Then you claim your mother's parents as your parents. Then your mother doesn't have any say over you. But no. These people, their fathers are present. They've got families there in Enugu. But they will go to the mountain, learn everything, desecrate a holy ritual, go back to Lagos and make content there. Why? Because the men are weak, the men are compromised, and the men are useless. All they know is to drink alcohol and fall and make videos. After all, computers crash, people yay! Vukani kusile. Nasebukweni bezinja. Kusile. We might as well then say men don't exist in this country anymore. If you guys, all you want to do is to appease your sisters, then you don't exist, because the nation dies. After all, computers crash, old men drunk like bastards, and you're just watching, and people are laughing in the comments. You don't see Nigerians posting videos like that. You don't see Nigerians posting videos like that. Piyamadoda. If I corner, let's see action. That's it. I don't want to see anything else. I want to see action. Injalo ke. Injalo ke malale qhingeni. That's exactly what I'm saying. So that is the situation in the Eastern Cape right now. There's a new chief of Nigerians, and I can promise you, Zikon Inkosi Zesintu, that will be on his side. That guy will just give them a few funds here and there. Let's move now. In Eastern Cape now, let's move to just Amaqabanchinji. Because I want to go to KZN. Amaqabanchinji about Eastern Cape. In Kutsolo. Why did the Kwe groups not have farming but continued hunting and moving? When you say Kwe groups, who are you referring to? Because even my ancestors were hunting and moving. So you're asking me why my ancestors didn't have farming? What is farming? When you talk about farming, what do you mean? You mean planting things and then eating? People planted and ate. For example, Amangakwane actually had cows. They farmed cows. They called them Eigu. Eigu. Amaqegu. That's an indigenous name for cows. Eigu, Eigomaku. So we kept cattle. But we kept cattle as a currency, not for food. We kept cattle so that we could trade with other people. So you had Kwe people who kept cattle, you had Kwe people who did not keep cattle. My bloodline, I believe, we probably did not have much cattle. Because where we lived, there were caves and there's no evidence that there were cattle. What I think happened is, for people, when people move, they would move with their cows. Those who don't have cows would just cross and live on top of mountains. Yeah, bo. Or fourth political theory, exactly, that's why I'm asking him. Because that's a European view. The idea that Kwe don't keep cattle, they don't farm, that doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. And we don't know, already we're way past that now. So we cannot say we are indigenous and then at the same time you use the same European nonsense that says you're not indigenous. If you are Bantu, then be Bantu then. Don't be indigenous and not indigenous at the same time. People kept cattle from Cape Town to Limpopo. If you know about the Battle of Salt River in 1510, if you know about the Battle of Salt River in 1510, here in Cape Town, the Uri literally defeated the Portuguese using cows. They were fighting with Keikomaku, Amaqegu. So I don't know which group did not hunt. There were people who gathered, who foraged tubes and roots, which we also did when it was time for a drought. There's a year, let me just confirm the year. I'm just going to confirm the year. The year 1884 to 1885. Do you know what we call that year? Umpunzisa. Umpunzisa, 1884 to 1885. Why do you think we call that year Umpunzisa? Because it was a year of great drought. Great drought. So we were gathering that year. We were hunting and gathering. There was drought. We couldn't plant. Umpunzisa is a root that we eat when there's drought. So we are hunter-gatherers ourselves. We just don't hunt and gather all the time. We hunt and gather at certain times. But we hunt. Hey man, we used to hunt all the time, guys. Like, that is how we ate meat. I think people don't get it, actually. People think we slaughtered cows for meat. How do you think we ate meat? We hunted for meat. That's how you have names like Inqaw, Nengwele. Those are people who are great hunters. To eat meat, you had to go hunting. You had to learn how to hunt. You had to learn how to trap animals. You had to know which roots and tubes to eat when you do the gathering. So hunting and gathering is our culture. We are hunter-gatherers. We also kept cattle. Like your Kurikwa kept cattle. Like your Kwanuka kept cattle. That's why we talk about upumi or upumi pulo. Upumi pulo is to go hunting for elephants. How do you think we traded with the Portuguese when we were selling them ivory? We were hunting elephants so that we could trade. So we all hunted, we all gathered, and we hunted more because that's how you eat meat. You don't just go and slaughter a cow. For us, cows, it's how we store value. It's finances. What do you mean farming? I told you we kept cattle in dinner. Kandi, what is farming according to you? Please clarify, my good sir. What is farming? Cattle is farming. Do you understand that? I'm saying to you, in 1510, the Urikekwa defeated the Portuguese with cows. They didn't fall from the sky. They were keeping them. That's called farming. There's fords all over. Oh, that's crop farming, most. That's planting food. Well, between Eastern Cape and Cape Town, there are trade routes. You see this plant that people smoke? The plant that you smoke, or people smoke, called dacha. It was a big crop. It was being farmed, basically. It was being farmed in the Western Cape and Eastern Cape heavily. And then seeds. What you want when is for people to have farms like today's industrial farms. We didn't have that. We had small gardens. Even Zulu, Xhosa, nobody had a farm that took the whole village. No, it's small farms, small gardens. Everyone had that. Otherwise, what would people eat? You know that things like umpokoko and pap, names like umka, those are indigenous Kwe names. How did they have names for umka and for umpokoko if they didn't know what those things are? They had seeds. And esa is a seed. Like a seed of upoko, for example. Something like upoko is esa in Kunkia. It's a seed they used to crush and make pap with it. So what I'm saying to you is that there was crop farming across the range. Now, maybe to help you phrase your question better, why were some communities not doing crop farming? Yes, you see, there's a Gikwa person there. They used to farm. Dacha was one of the products that was traded. That's why the name Dacha means ukudaka ingqondo. Ukudaka ingqondo, indaka, the one that confuses the mind. That's what Dacha means. It was a big crop that was being farmed in Eastern and Western Cape, and we traded it a lot. But not just Dacha, many others as well. Upoko, unyaloti, and many others. Not pap, but remember, pap is just a thing that you've crushed. It could be any kind of pap. It could be millet pap. It could be sorghum pap. It's just a name. In fact, the name Uputu in and of itself, you know, Uputu is a name from the Asians. In Sri Lanka, they have Uputu there. It's literally called Putu. It's a Sri Lankan... It's a Sri Lankan word. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, guys, it's a lie that people were not farming. Yeah. What were they going to eat, Kandi? People had to eat food, man. But what you want to ask is, how come some communities survived off gathering and hunting? So people who used to gather are people who lived in places where it made sense to gather. How are you going to farm in a desert in Kalahari? Help me there. What are you going to farm there? What are you going to farm in Kalahari? Nothing is going to grow. Excuse me. So, in Kalahari, you do what? You go looking for tubes and roots. You eat those ones. And then you hunt for animals because they are there. If you live on the coast, you don't have to plant anything because you can just go to the shore. On the reefs, there's literally like your mussels are there. Your other, you know, like these shell foods are there. We call them monokwek and onokent. Shell foods, you do fishing. So you don't just wake up and decide to farm, guys. You farm so that you can eat. If there's already food in front of you, why are you farming? Go to, for example, Papua New Guinea. Look at those people there. They don't have big farms, those people. They don't have big farms. The food is there, like they're in dense forests. Go to the Twa people in Central Africa. They are not farming. Why would they farm? There's everything there. So you farm because you need some kind of structure. And also now, people who have like structured kingships. People who have structured kingships will do more of crop farming than people who live in smaller groups. So people with more structured kingships, with armies and all that, they need to do farming so that then they can take some of the food, take it to do what? To send it to the king. We call it ulibo. You send the food to the king. The king uses that food to feed the armies who fight for him. But the idea that Kwe people, whoever Kwe people are, did not farm is complete nonsense. They had cattle and they had gardens as well, like everyone else here. Some communities farmed more than others. Yes, that's true. Some communities hunted more than others. Yes, that's true. But as a general rule, we all hunted more than anything else. We all hunted. In fact, in 1779, when William Patterson went to Bicha, he did not even see one garden. That's where the Xhosa people were staying. He saw cows, but he did not see a single garden, which tells you that these people were living off gathering and hunting. And then they use cows for trade. You tell me? You feel me? So I know, people have been sold this thing of Bantu were farmers and then the Kwe were... It's nonsense. It's not true. It's not true. There's no Bantu who were farmers. 1779, Bicha, Kauta is there. There are no gardens that are seen anywhere. He said, I didn't see a single garden. Why? They were on the move. Why would they be planting gardens when Ukhakhab is going to come and kill Kauta here? They were on the move. The only thing they're protecting now is the cattle. They're hunting and they're gathering there for food. And they were next to the ocean. Why are you going to be having gardens? There's ocean here. You can just go and get shell foods. No, we hunted more than anything else. Hunting was one of the most important activities as an industry. It was a core activity of our people. It's not something we did as a hobby. Hunting is how we ate meat. Cows were not meat, they were currency. Cows is how you buy things from other people. Cows is how you pay dowry. Cows is how you pay fines. It's not what you eat. It's how you pay for things. For you to eat meat, you go to the wild. You look for the bushbuck. You look for the springbok. We even did biltong. Kwaito. In Kam, it's Kaiten. Kaiten in Kam, Kwaito in isiXhosa. It means the biceps. Because the biceps in smaller animals, this umkhono was the best to dry, to make biltong with. They will tell you that biltong, Afrikaans culture. No, it isn't. It's hunting culture. Yeah, no, umqwayiba in isiZulu, indeed. That's biltong. So now in places like Inqu, Kutsolo, Igubenqa, iCacadu, Inqanqarho, you actually had societies like Ganqa people who actually had chiefs and had established structures. One of the chiefs in the 1850s was a man called Ngabai, whose daughter was Mamqabela. And there's pictures of these people. Fortunately, we have pictures of these people. Now let's go to KZN. In KZN, they talk about Amadebe, Amalala, Abambo, Amantungwa, and all that. Firstly, you need to know what the names mean. In Kwinkia, the name for a knife is Debe. I repeat, in Kwinkia, the name for a knife is Debe. Amadebe simply means those who cut their faces. Debe, a knife, a cutting instrument. Amadebe, those who cut their faces. Amazocho, ukuzocha is to make locks is yendani. So amazocho is queer people with is yendani. I repeat, amazocho is queer people with is yendani. Is yendani is the Zulu word for umieko. Umieko is what the Hlubi people used. Is yendani is what the Zulu people called the Hlubis. Now I'll show you queer people with is yendani and you will see. You shall see. Nazok. These people have got umieko. They've got is yendani. They've got those dreadlocks that the people who do amandao. Koko mkulu. These people have that. These are Kaukan people. These are Kaukan people. So this is where you get the name Amazocho. It's queer people with hair like this. It's queer people with hair like this, Amazocho. Which is exactly where the Amazocho of the Eastern Cape, who are queer for that matter. And I don't care if you are hurt by this or you're not. Because I know there are people who are watching here and then they're going to go and post on Facebook. I don't believe Amazocho are queer. They are queer. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Guys, being queer has nothing to do with how you feel about it. Amazocho are queer. That's why you have Shwawu, who are also Chwawu people. That's why you have Nzima Kwe. You think Nzima Kwe are just Nzima Kwe because it's a fun name. I'm Nzima Kwe. Southern KZN, Northern Eastern Cape. Mboto, Deyi, Wahu. Wahu is the rain or the sky or the clouds of the rain. Wahu is Mafu. These are the rainmakers. They are Amazoch. In fact, the Nci people, Kwe. That's where Oliver Tambo comes from. Ha ha ha. You didn't know that Oliver Tambo was a Kwe? Yes, he was a Kwe. Just like Steve Biko was a Kwe, Umgcina, Ukamela, yes. Just like Mandela was a Kwe, just like Ulumisa is a Kwe, just like Ugwedamantashe is a Kwe, Ukwati, just like Ukrisani is a Kwe, Mkunukwebe, just like Winnie Madikizela Mandela is a Kwe, Izocho, just like all of them, the heroes of the struggle. So they were never a black government as defined in the nonsensical constitution. So you enter KZN at the very ongabi ngama, what is this konje odlamini sibalukhulu, what do they call themselves? Amakhuze. Ongabi ngamakhuze, yes. Ngamakhuze. Now Genyimini, I will talk about Odlamini. Genyimini, because people don't know much about Odlamini. They are just confused by Amalangeni, Onkosi. Remember, kukunkosi kusibalukhulu kuzizi kukumtungwa. Yabona baninzi Odlamini kuko umalandela. So Odlamini are not the same. Odlamini usibalukhulu, you get Ongabi. Not also Usibalukhulu, Amakhuze, sorry. So you enter KZN. Well, yeah, that is actually fine. That is correct. When a fourth political theory. That is correct. But I'm still exploring KZN. You enter Uhlangana Namadede. I've explained. It's people who cut their faces. Amazocho, they are there. And then Uhlangana Namacele Ondosi. Now what I mean now, when I tell you straight about it, but that's not for today, because I don't think Dlaminis are ready. I think Dlaminis, they've been infiltrated too much. They've been infiltrated too much, especially on course. You see the Swatis, too much infiltration there from the Mozambique side. Too much infiltration. So I don't want to talk too much about that yet. Because if it's Otela, I mean, we have to go back to Portugal. We have to go back to the Tembe. We have to go to the Tonga. We have to go to the slave trade. And we must separate the different Dlaminis now. We must address the slave trade because, especially Amaswat. But guys, I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Ezansi, KZN, Amadebe, Amazocho, Kwe people. You go to the side of the Drakensberg. Someone asking, Amabhaca, Angobani. Amabhaca, guys, ngabantu ababhacayo. They come from two bloodlines. The indigenous Bhacas, Amabhaca Mthonyama. Two bloodlines, Amazelemu Namawushe. Amazelemu Namawushe are from northern KZN, southern Eswatini and Libombo. These are people from the Libombo area, from the border of Eswatini and KZN. That's why betekela betefula. Originally, Amabhaca tekela tefula. And this nonsense of saying Umadzikane kaZulu, this is not the same Zulu as Uzulu Kamalandela. Uzulu Kamalandela lived in the 1500s. Umadzikane just lived now. Two different generations at two different times. Amabhaca claim affinity to Umalandela through Ulufenu Lwenja, not through Uzulu. I repeat, Amabhaca claim affinity to Amazulu through Ulufenu Lwenja, not through Uzulu Kamalandela. Because Uzulu Kamalandela mdala kunoyise kaMadzikane. Two different times. And Umalandela, remember now, come from northern KZN. They come from northern KZN. They are neighbors. Amaqungebe, bakwaZungu, bakwaSibiya, Amaqhunu, and then you've got Amaqhube and all that. Uyabo. Yes, that's the thing. Ulufu Lwenja, Ulufenu Lwenja, Ulufele Lwenja. There's many of them. The problem is that these people live at different times. But anyway, Amabhaca are two bloodlines. Amawushe, Amazelemu. And then Amawushe and Amazelemu get betrayed by Amabhela kwaMdluli. They get attacked. They decide to move southwards. They settle amongst Abambo at Drakensberg for a while. Yes, ukobiswana Kalmesh. So bahlala pha Embo ke. And then ziyakhala kwaZulu. Ilembe eleqa amanye amalembe is dealing with them there. So Amabhaca are formed ke through the incorporation of Izizwe zaseMbo, which is south at the south of Thukela, in the Drakensberg area, and after Thukela. Those people are incorporated into Amazelemu and Amawushe. So within Amabhaca, you will find Amadlamini, you will find Amabhele, you will find Amahlubi, but they are all Amabhaca. Because you guys need to understand, there's two ways that you can be part of a nation. You can be part of a nation through lineage, and you can be part of a nation through incorporation or protection. That's why many people who are Zulu by that way. They are Zulu by incorporation into the Zulu polity. They are not Zulu by blood. Amaqhunu are not Zulu by blood. Amaqhube are not Zulu by blood. Amaqhamane are not Zulu by blood. Amandwandwe are not Zulu by blood. Amantungwa or Khumalo or Mzilikazi are not Zulu by blood. They are all related, these groups, yes, along the way when you go back in time. But many of them were incorporated in some form, shape, and they basically became Zulu in that manner then. We are born. Same thing. And it's not just AmaZulu. All nations are like that, are multi-ethnic in origin. Heck, there's even an Indian chief KwaZulu as we speak. kunenkosi kwaZulu elindiya right now as we speak. Hey, ziyakhala eMzantsi. Woo! Ay ziyabuya madoda. Sibona uIgwe Ndigbo ngapha kukho India eliyo and lihamba phambili emikhosini. Lihamba phambili emikhosini. NakwaXhosa kwakunenkosi engumlungu bathi nguzama ukulungisa. Oh, yini madoda. Why did the Basotho refer to Drakensberg as Maluti? Maluti simply means ulundi, but they use it in the plural form, Maluti. It's ulundi. It's a what is this thing, Konch? So uyinkosana ke, ungumntwana. That's even worse. Anyway, Maluti is ulundi, guys. It's a barrier. You know, barrier is ulundi, like a mountain range. So that's why Basotho called the Drakensberg Maluti. Yabo. AmaZulu sisizwe mfowethu, it's not a surname. Sisizwe. I just explained that now that AmaZulu incorporated Amachunu, they incorporated Amachube, they incorporated Amachamani, they incorporated all these nations. They are not ungizwe umchunu akungizwe Zulu, kungizwe umchunu, but ungumZulu. Uzweli Mkhize akangozweli Zulu, kuzweli Mkhize but ungumZulu. So it's not a surname, it's a nation. Isizwe. It's no bukhosi, no mbuso. Masingafeketi. Amusu ukufeketa. Masingafeketi madoda. Kudala siyithetha lento. We've been discussing this thing. We can't go 10 steps back now. Anyway, go to the Drakensberg. Go to the caves. You find abantu in the caves. They are known as Amangwingu in isiZulu. And you find others, they are known as Amanqeshe in isiZulu. And you wonder, who are these Amangwingu and Amanqeshe? Well, whenever I talk about Gwinkia, Gwi is people. Thank you. When I say Gwi, remember it's people, right? When I say Kia is to talk. Now I'm gonna explain. Dieza kumtungwa. Wenanala. Dieza kumtungwa. I wanna explain what is Gwinkia quickly. Gwi is people. Uyakwazi ukubhobha. Hayi. Ziyabhobha nje kanje. Sithi iteku ayitulatuli. Sithi siyakuthanzada bhacelihle linenhlanga etitse. Oh, anyway. You have Amangwingu, you have Amanqeshe. I'm gonna explain that now. But the name Ngwingwi, I find it very interesting. It's a nice name. Ne? When I say Kwi, remember, I always tell you that not everyone is Kwi. For example, the Kham people never call themselves Kwi. They call themselves Kwe and Kwi and Kwi. That's why you have Su Kwini, not Su Kweni, Su Kwini. So they are Kwi people or Kwi people. Others are Kwe. That's why you have Kham Kakwe. Others are Kwa people like your Nkwa and your Nkhe. So it's not just Kwe, everyone is Kwe. No. Others are two. This is where Ntu comes from. It's two or Takan. People who are called Kho people, they're actually two. They call themselves two. Atu. I am two. That's how they refer to themselves. And Aba Ntu is basically that two. Others are Jew, like your Jew people who speak Kung. See, that lady was doing a poem for Ramaphosa. They are Jew people. Now, Jew is a combination of many people. You have Kung, which is an affinity to Amabele or Kunta. It's Kung people. You have Kwan, which is where the Nwana clan name amongst the Amabele comes from. Jew Kwan. This is where you get Jew and Kha peoples. That's where Amajwaha come in. And this is the connection between Amabele and Amajwaha. It's the Jew and the Kha peoples and the Kung and the Kwan peoples. Amakunta, Namangwana, and then you have Amajwaha here. These two groups, they merged at some point. Even Xhosa oral history says it that Amajwaha and Amabele were one at some point. It's Jew, Kwan, which is Jew, and Kha, and Kwan and Kung people, or Kunta. In fact, the language that the lady was using when she was when she was doing the poem. That language is called Kontari. Why would that lady speak gibberish though in parliament? Now, as an adult who can actually think for herself, why would an individual leave their house, take a bath in the morning, go to parliament and speak gibberish? Please answer me, Nat, so that you understand how ridiculous your question is. Why would an individual with a healthy functioning brain leave their house in the morning, go to parliament and speak gibberish? How, guys? Come on, man. Hayibo. Kumnqa wantoni unibuza wona? Tamnqa. Kontari is the language that lady in parliament was using. She was using Kontari. Uthetha isiqunta. So, nazok. So now you get, these people are generally known as Kwi or Tu or Jew people. So Kwi means people. To speak now in these languages, one way to say to speak is Koba. Koba, to speak. That's why you have Kora, Kobab, which means the speech of the Kora, the language of the Kora. It's Koba. If you go to Limpopo, you find some of the Sepedi speakers, but will say, Karikoba Kobe. Come, let's speak quickly. Come, let's talk quickly on the side. Hukoba is to speak. That's why we have Kora Kobab and Kwe Gowab and Nama Gowab. Another way to say speak is Allah. I once said in one of my videos, Allah, Allah, you speak the language of the Ngqwa or of the Ngqong people. That is to say, you speak the language of Amangqongo. Allah. Allah is to talk. This is why Amampondo use this word, ukuxela. Ntendiyixelayo yonto. Ntendiyixelayo yonto mpim. Yabo. This is exactly what I mean. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. So, Allah is to talk. So, this is the second one. The First Nation Aboriginal don't know nothing about this because they are imposters. I told you, Koba in Kora Kobab means to talk. Koba Koba. Telling you, Allah means to talk. What is this? In Isimpond. Amampondo means batibona ugutseya to talk. Tseya. And this is where I'm going with it. When you say Gwingtia or Gwinkia, Gwinkia, Gwi is people, Kia is to talk. Kia is to talk. This is where Mampondo say Yatseya. He talks. The Gwi say Kia to talk. Mampondo say Ugutseya to talk. So it's Gwinkia. Ugutseya kwama Gwingwi. Ugutseya kwama Ngwingu. Amangwingu are the Gwi people according to the Zulus. And Lompondo mlamntwana egazi. Ndikumphuthi mna. Gilithetsa. Ngingumuthu wekupheka tiphempim letiqhakuba ngenqawana. Ngingumuthu wekutheka ngebulebi ithambeni isincola kamhluti matiyansa kona. Ndingumfene mna uhlathi ujambase ndingumsuthu. Andilo mpondo. Ndithetha isiXhosa ngoba ke ndakhe kwaXhosa kwangqika. Ngaphambi koba ndakhe kwangqika ndandisebathenjini so sasingabathembu for 300 years besingabathembu thina. Before that, we were independent in the Drakensberg Mountains. Phake esililini sika Rharhabe kwangqika uqobo eDikeni. Phezu komlambi iTyhume Camagu. So, when we say Gwinkia, Kia is to talk like Amampondomise, say Ti ugutseya. This is where Amazulu now call the Xhotle people. Xhotle, they call them Amangwing, which means the Kwi people. People who speak isiZulu say Amangwing, the Kwi people, or Amangqeshe, the Kwe. I'm not making these things up when I say Kunkia or whatever. It's real things, you just don't know it. So these people spoke a language known as Gikrikwi. Gikrikwi. Gikrikwi is beautiful because it uses a prefix gi. This prefix, you also find it in another language known as Kikatsi, which I can say is the language of Amamfene originally. Kikatsi, which is why we call ourselves Kanzi. Kikatsi is the language of Amamfene originally. Katsi or Kanzi refers to the bush, which is why we see this in This prefix, Gitrigwi, Gikatsi, is an interesting prefix for language because you also find it in the language of Balubedu. They call it Kilobedu. People think Winkia languages or Kwe languages don't have prefixes. They do have noun classes. For example, for a skin in Kikatsi, for a bird, in Kikatsi, you will find that they call it Simwa. Simwa. A bird. It's Simwa. Isingwa. Isingwa, that's a bird. Like, Nwa means small. Which is why in Xhosa sometimes a bird is called Ngamazan. Singwa, that C right there is a prefix. Like isi chama, isi kumba. Same thing with languages. The prefix ki, which is gikrigwi or kikhazi or kilobedu. You find it in Gwinkia and in Isintu. That is a big thing. To find this prefix in both these languages. That's a big thing. So the people who were in the Drakensberg, one group of them, known as the Tsotle, they spoke in Gikrigwi. Now, some words in Gikrigwi are words for the Veldebies, for example. In Gikrigwi, the Veldebies is called Ngu. Ngu is the Veldebies in Gikrigwi. Guess what? In Xhosa, the Veldebies is Ingu. What does Ngu mean? Ngu means black. That's why those Ngu people called the Ngu people who speak Nguki. The Ngu means black as well. The black people. Ngu. Ngu means black, and this is why the name of the Orange River is Ngu. Or Isingu in Sisuthu or Siputi, and Isangu from the people in KZN, and Ngu Rib from the people who speak Rakobab, and Heri in Kham, and Igili in Xhosa. Why is it called Ngu Heri or Ngu Rib or Singu or Isangu? It's because the river is black. Go to YouTube. Go to Google Orange River. It's not orange. It's bloody black. Ongube, they are named after the baboon. Nu is black. Nube, people of the baboon. They share affinity with us, Amamfen. Nube means Amamfen in essence. Ongube, Omzilankata. Yes. Another version of the word Nube is actually the hyena with the black sides. The Nube for the hyena with the black sides. It refers to the black hair. Yes, Amakube or Nube or Chezi or Tedza, Amamfen or Kanzi. We are all the same people. We are one. Even in Lesotho, where my ancestors established themselves early, before there was ever Lesotho. They're there. Oh, Chezi, Bakona pa. They're there. Oh, Chezi, Bakona. They're our brothers there. As Amamfene, we come from the same bloodline with Chezi. Even in Lesotho, not just in KZN. And these are Kwe people. Ngabatwa straight or Chezi. Straight. Even the name Chezi, it literally means bushman. That's why you even have places like Mchezi, and then in English they'll say Bushman's River. Ash. Ziyakhala ke manje. Wathi umacingwane. Ata samsiyomosha. No. Sotho identity is old. Sotho, remember, refers to royal lines. When you say uSotho is the royal line. Before umshweshwe, in fact, KwaZulu, uSotho is a very important thing. Even some Amalangeni, they refer to themselves with uSotho. Even Odlamini, upper in Eastern Cape, bakhona Odlamini mSotho. KwaZulu, that's why they say hebe uSuthu. Hebe uSuthu. It's water. The dark river. Jutu. Tu is the water mos. TTU is water. TTU is water. It's a Kwi word for water. In fact, even rain in some Kwi or Kwe languages, rain refers to water. So amanzi omlambo ayathululeka from the top down. Ayathululeka. Tu is that water. Shu or su is just a softened form. Ukusho amanzi ansundu, amanzi amdaka. It's the dark waters of the river. So bathi KwaZulu uSuthu. Why bathi uSuthu? Because uSuthu represents the royal line. Abantwana begazi. When you say uSuthu is the royal line. If you noticed, amongst the Basotho, there's not even a single clan that calls themselves Msuthu. But all the people who speak Nguni are called Msuthu. That should tell you something. Amongst the Mazulu, Omsuthu bakhona. Amongst the Dlamini, Omsuthu bakhona. Amamfene, Gomsuthu. Amangqosini, Gomsuthu. Omaduna, Gomsuthu. And all these people are Kwe. Omaduna, they are Kora. In Kora, they are called Matona. Amangqosini are Kora, they are Kosin. Amavunjo oncilashe ngamakora all the way from Tswanatsa, not Kora, sorry, not Kora, they are Kwe. From Tswanatsatsi, not Kora, they are Kwe though. Ocamsholo, omkwe. Amavundle oncilashe ocamsholo omkwe. Kuthiwa nyoka emnyama ecanda iziziba. Siyakhala ke manje. So uSuthu is the royal is the royal line. It's Xhosa is a language. It's a language, it's Xhosa. AmaXhosa are people who swear allegiance to the Xhosa king. Ukuba uhlala kumhlaba wakwaXhosa ungumXhosa, that's it. Uba uhlala kumhlaba wakwaXhosa ungumXhosa, nami ndihlala kwaXhosa, ndingumXhosa kanjalo. If I move and go to another tribe's land and get land from them, I belong to those people. You can't be something you're not. But by bloodline, andingomXhosa, zange ndanguyena ngaphambili futhi. But by allegiance, ndilingqika ngqo. Sizinkomo zikam because inkomo zikamlawo. Osithathu kaloku ngabathwa abantwana begazi nje. Osithathu ngabathwa bangamaXhosa namhlanje kuba bephansi kwamaXhosa, kodwa ngabathwa osithathu. Osithathu ngabathwa. Amachawe hayi, amachawe kaloku ngabathwa abangamaXhosa. UbuXhosa obu guys refers to abathwa. We just said now that to gather. I'm gonna explain what the name Xhosa means, ne? Let me just continue. So when you get to the Drakensberg, you get the Tlotle people called who speak Gixigwi. One of the descendants of the Tlotle, abantu bakwaDuma, abantu bakwaNxasana, abantu bakwaMsimang. In fact, if you look at names like Kwabe, yes, abantu bakwaDuma straight, ngabathwa straight. What the man, hey. Ubani ngolona. Before the invasion of the Bantu, what is the invasion of the Bantu? Which year did that happen? Who was leading it? What is the Bantu, by the way? Is it an animal? I would love to know what is the Bantu. Guys, if you don't know these things, just shut up. Don't talk because I'm gonna block you. Shut up. Why are you talking about something you don't know? Unless you've done 15 years of research on this, then you can have an opinion. Now you sound like the coloreds, nje. Stupid fools who can't even think for themselves, who have to be fed by AfriForum and Lex Libertas and Willem Bleek to know anything about anything. 5 years ago, you guys were claiming you're from Congo. Next thing you guys are claiming to be Khoisan. It's not just colors, it's even you. Xhosa speakers. Some of you're busy talking about Khoisan, the Khoisan Bantu mixture. There is no Khoisan Bantu. There are no Khoisan in South Africa, and there are no Bantu in South Africa. If you are Khoisan in South Africa, you are an invader, you came from somewhere else, and you have no identity. If you are Bantu in South Africa, you are an invader, you came from somewhere else, and you don't know who you are. Go back to European fathers then, who taught you that you are Bantu or you are Khoisan. You are a European project, and you have no place here. Abantu and the Bantu are two different things. This guy said the Bantu, he didn't say Abantu. He said the Bantu. So what is the Bantu? I want to know. I told you, Abantu literally comes from the Kwinkia word two. Two is literally two, the people. I'll show you. Both the word ba and two. It means the people of the earth. Abantu bamkuba. Two and ntu is just the root for intutu, the dust of the earth, clay. That's what ntu is. It's a root word, which means clay. People of the earth. The earthlings. It's the exact same word as the word human. It literally means the exact same thing. And I mean at the most deepest, a basal form of the etymology of the word human. Homos. It means the earth. And the other Dr. Nevu, yes, I would be happy if you can come here and explain. But Dr. Nevu is not going to come here and explain for one reason or the other. I've tried to reach out to him. I've sent him a message on WhatsApp. He won't answer me. But I don't want to talk about Dr. Nevu. I don't want to talk about people who get paid to talk about these things. I don't get paid to talk about this. I'm talking about my ancestry. I'm talking about people who invented fire here. I'm talking about people who invented fire. Amaphehla mlilo. Amazwathi alomhlaba. You can bring all the experts, whether they are colored, whether they are Xhosa, whether they are Zulu. Bring all the experts here. Send them an invite and tell them I'm here waiting for them. They never want to join. I wonder why. All the Bantu invasion people, all the Khoisan people, all the First Nation, all the Imhlobo Wenene people, Mabaze, I'm ready for them. Right here, right now. Call them. Babize bonke. Tell them. Uqanzi, usadlalanga, ubalindile. Someone was asking what is Ngongo. Ngongo is just a temporary shelter. Indlu. It's that is what it is. I'm not fighting anyone, It's just that someone mentioned Dr. Nevu. I've never mentioned Dr. Nevu before. But you mentioned him, so I'm gonna address it. There's a question I want to see. Is it historically true that Bantu are the descendants of Khoisan? There is no Khoisan, guys. Can't you never talk to one? What is Khoisan? Can you just clarify for me here in the comments? Tell me what is Khoisan? And what is Bantu? Just two quick definitions quickly, then I will answer. I'm really begging you guys. Explain what is Khoisan, one, just definition quickly, and then explain what is Bantu two, so that I know exactly what you're talking about. Abatwa are the Twa peoples. Amaxhakangu are people who lived in Xhakangu. Xhakangu is a place where Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa meet. In Twerefieren, that's Xhakangu. That is the name of the place in Muki. It's called Xhakangus. It's where the Oni people lived. It's where the Khatia people lived. It's where the Nkwa people lived. Nkwa Angu people, and other groups who are today known as Omani. That's where they lived. They are known as Kagangu. So, who are the Kagangu? Amangqongo, Abathembu, Amanguni, because Oni is Nguni, Bakoni, Amakakeni, Hakia, Amangoche, Mukan, Amangamani, Omaseko, Amangamani, Mapondwini. These are Kwe people who lived in Kagangus. And I'm talking about 5,000 years ago. I'm not talking about something from yesterday that was written by Jan van Riebeeck. So Amakagangu is those people. Abatwa, it's Chwa. Chwa peoples. What is Chwa? Chwa means a person. Sometimes they are called the people of the field. Abantu betafa. Chwa or Chware. Chware. Chwawu. Abashwawu. Namachawe, those are Chwa. So the word Chwa simply means a person, umtu. So Abatwa, Abachwa. Amakagang are people who lived in Kagang. Abakwe are the Kwe people. The Kwe are the Kwe people. The Kru are the Kru people. The Two are the Two people. The Two are the Two people. Why are we so obsessed with categorizing? People already identify themselves as what they are. And that's exactly what they are. Yes, you are correct. Ngomani, Kibakomani. It's their Komani. It's an exonym. Amagcina, they are Kwe. Gcina is literally the Kwe word for twins. Kamela is the Kwe word for two people who are one. Kam is two. Mera, that la at the end, is just a word to say men. The two men. Kamela. Kamela. Gcina is a twin. Sometimes they are called Gcesikwa. So the Tlote now, your Kregwi speaking people, is where you get words like Sangu, which is black, which is in this Xhosa is in. It's for the Orange River. The Orange River is not it's not orange, it's black. That's why it was called the Sangu. King Pungane III, it's sad situation yakhe. If King Bugane III is from Congo, I think it's fine to let him claim it. He's from Congo. I mean, that's all right. He's not wrong. But he must not say everyone is from Congo. If his bloodline is a Congolese bloodline, that's fine. That means we welcomed him. That means we gave him a home. That means we gave him decency. We treated him good. Now he must not try and colonize our history. That's another thing, guys. Some people know that they are not from here, and you must allow them. You must allow those people to claim that's their history. But they must not act as if it's the history of everyone else. Someone is asking me to explain the word Nguni. I literally explained the word Nguni. Guys, please explain for Uvusi, Mr. Vusi the one. Please explain the word Nguni. I explained it. I explained it as Gona. I explained it as Wangona. I explained it as Wakoni. I explained it as Nguni. I explained it as Toni. I explained it as Tonin. I explained it as Gunu. I explained it as Gona. I made a very clear explanation what the word Nguni is and what it pertains to. Mbo. Embo. I explained it. There's a 2-hour, if not 8-hour video. There's an 8-hour video. It's 2 videos on my YouTube channel where I explained Embo. There's a distinction between Kheya, Kagang, and Kwama. Thanks, Jambas. Now I understand. Yeah, Kwama is Tram. It's Tram descendants. The Sukwini are Kwama. They are Tram. Kagang, it's a multitude of Kwi people, basically. The Kauni, the Hakia, the Ngamani, the Ngu, the Ngung, the Komani. Those are Kagang people. The Kheya, Amakheya, the colors. The word is a Tram word, which means bastards. It's Kayan in Tram. is Kaya in isiXhosa. It's used by Tram and Xhosa people to refer to mixed race people. Kayan, amakaya. That's it. That's what the word is. Togu and Tongu. No, Togu is a hippo here. When you talk about Togu, it's a hippo. We're referring to a hippo. There's a language, a Khoi language known as Sirwa. In Sirwa, the name Togu is a hippo. The name Ngonde is a cluster of stars. The name Khakhabe means sharp one. Khakha is sharp. Khakhabe, the be is a masculine suffix for a name. Khakhabe, the sharp one. That's why he's called Ubutsolo Bentonga, the sharpness of a stick. Oma, they are absolutely amakhagang. They are absolutely amakhagang omakoma. They are absolutely amakhagang. There's no doubt about it. That's why they called Oma, Mtwa, Siko, Kananatu, Eligubeni. They are Kagang, those ones. Which means they come from the region of Kakangus. What is Kakangus? It's to a referent. It is the culmination. It was once a center of our civilization. This is why they talk about the lost city of the Kalahari. The lost city of the Kalahari is Kakangus. It's where the Botswana claim to come from. Excuse me. It's where the Botswana claim to come from, in the land of the Bakoni, at the culmination of Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. That's Kakangus. So nations who are settled there at some point are known as Amakakang. Igwanga, Igwanga means light brown. Gwa means brown. Gwa means brown or dirty-ish. That's what Gwa means. Nga means little. Gwang, light brown. The etymology of the word to laugh, go to my TikTok channel. I've already explained it there. It comes from Khecha. These Semitic languages that native people are obsessed with, they are young, those things. All Semitic languages come from us. It's not the other way around. Just because the word Tsecha in Hebrew is there, doesn't mean you guys, oh, Hebrew. Hebrew is a young language. They can't even pronounce the lateral alveolar fricative. If you understood language, if our people understood language, they wouldn't be trying to chase Hebrew. Oh, we are Hebrew, guys. We are Hebrew. They would know that the Hebrew can't even pronounce the most basic sounds. They can't even pronounce the most basic sound. So the word Hleka and the word Kuseka and the word Kuteka and the word Kucheka, all of them come from the word Khecha. Khecha is to love. Khe is to be good. And Kha is to be full of something. Khecha, to be full of goodness, full of joy. That's why Uhleka, when you feel good. You can't be told your mother just died. I feel so good. You can't laugh when you just got such news. So Khecha means to laugh because of the abundance of joy. No, Isaac, yes, it's called Itzach. Isaac is Itzach, ukuhleka. It's not just Isaac. All Hebrew names can be derived back to our languages. But it's not just Hebrew names. Arabic names as well. Sumerian names as well. Kemetic names as well. Why do people only focus on Hebrew? Because even in Arabic, Moses is Musa, which is muta, to awaken, to raise someone up. Muta. Go to the Shona speakers, they will tell you, Vusa, muta. That's Musa, Moses. Because the woman lifted Moses up from the basket. Therefore, she named him that I lifted you up. I drew you out of the basket. He was thrown into the lake with the basket or into the river. So it's not just Hebrew. It's Arabic. It's Aramaic. It's Ge'ez. It's Sumerian. It's Akkadian. It's Babylonian. All these languages will be derived back, even Latin, even English for that matter, even Afrikaans can be derived back to our dialects. Why? Because we are the origin of what? Of speech. No, so kukumusa no dange. You have umusa. So umusa, the umu there is just the noun class, it's a prefix. The word is actually sa. Umusa, isisa. That's a different word. Musa in Shona is Musa, is a form of vusa. That's what the word is. Musa as in vusa. So because v is pronounced with the two lips v, it changes in other dialects to mu. Yabo. Vusa, musa, to awaken, to rise. Umu is just a prefix. It's a noun class. Yabo. It can also be isisa. In isiXhosa we have both umsa and isisa. So you'll find a man with the name Sisa and a woman with the name Nomsa. So which shows that if you can change the noun class, that means that the body of the word is sa. So sa in that case is mercy or pity. Umsa. That's why you have Nomsa in isiXhosa. Anyway, what I'm saying is that there's no language, guys, even Chinese for that matter. You could look at any language, you will find connection between that language and what? And our languages. You go to Chinese, you look at the qi. The qi is the sense, the source of energy. It's what we call the gui here. Hence, someone who's a master in manipulation of energies is called gui. There's no language that you can't trace back to us, not just Hebrew. The over-obsession with the Hebrew tells me one thing and one thing only, that people want to be something so bad. They want to be something so bad because you can go to Kemet, all the gods and the deities, you can derive them in our language. You think about Nuna or Nun and Nuna. It's water, ama Nunga. We call them Nunga. We call them Nunga. You think about the god of the Nile, Mukhab. It's Mukhab or Umgabi. It refers to the overflow of the water. You think about Ra. It's Ho. You think about the word Huora. Huora litsatsi. Ukota. So Ra is ilita lelanga. Ukota. That's Ra. So my point is that you can even go to Latin for that matter. You can go to English. You can go to Dutch. You'll find words that are still aura. Yes, aura as well. Aura refers to ukota. It refers to isota. It's the energy, the radiation that is released by something. So what I'm saying to you is that don't obsess with Hebrew only. Every single way that humans speak, it came from us because we have the primordial speech. You know when our ancestors tell about the first nation on earth, the first beings who were able to shapeshift. There sitting people. First, there sitting people. First, to be there. Swa, to sit. People. Yes, they're self-destructed. They were so advanced in technology, they destroyed themselves. They were extinct. We are told these people, that's why we venerate insects today. Like inyosi, the bee. We venerate insects like the praying mantis. We venerate these because they resemble the first race, the real first nation. These are the ones who self-destructed. These are the ones who self-destructed. We venerate these insects because they were insectoid in form, these people. Today they can't take their physical form, they come in dreams. We venerate Ipungane. Indeed, we venerate animals because they could shapeshift. And we see them when we communicate with stars and moon. You know, they've done some experiments in science where they listen to the sounds that the sun emits. If you listen, the sun speaks. It emits sounds. If you listen to the moon, it has sounds. If you listen to the plants, they've got sounds. They speak. And they speak in what? They speak in clicks. Every single alien movie, the aliens speak in clicks. Why? I told you. They're far back, including rocks, indeed. They've got energy that they emit in the form of sound, vibrations, which we interpret as click forms. As far back as you can go, you will learn that we took our speaking abilities from these entities. So our elders tell us that the Kwe, the first there sitting ones, first there sitting people, they existed first, they were self-destroyed, they were extinct. We came after them. Today, indeed. In fact, I listened to a video yesterday, a very interesting video that captures the sounds of different animals. The whale, the crickets, the birds, all the sounds are the same at different frequencies though. All the sounds are the same at different frequencies. They all speak the same thing. Different speeds, different frequencies. Some you can decipher, some you can't. Like a whale, you can't decipher it, but it's the same frequency. Others are super, others are lower, a sub. And then there's us. Indeed, sound creates faces because you can't destroy energy. That's why I'm saying people must restore their clicks. Even the people from Limpopo, they used to speak in clicks. Just yesterday, I was with a brother. And I hear the word Nk'e in the speech. Nk'e. And I'm like, what is Nk'e? I learned that Nk'e means there, that side. Nk'e means there, that side. And I'm like, this is what I just explained, Mos. I said, Kwe Nk'ase or Nk'asua. That word Nk'a could be Nk'a, it could be Nk'e. Yes. So when I say Nk'asua, Sua is to stay, to sit, ukutuwa or hudula. So hudula Nk'e is Nk'e Sua. You understand? Nk'e is a side. That side over there, it's there. That's why we say Kwe Nk'e Sua or Nk'a Sua. First, there sitting people. This is the real first people. I'm not talking about imposters who claim to be First Nation when they don't know nothing about their own family history. They can't tell you their 8th grandfather, but they want to tell you that they're First Nation. It's like these people who claim we come from the Great Lakes in 1200 AD, but you don't know your 4th grandfather and you want to tell me about 4 AD. Tell me first about your grandfathers. Like I'm telling you, ukuthi ndingusandile uzalwa ngukhunku, ukhunku ozalwa ngusigovo, usigovo ozalwa ngugoqozo, ugoqozo uSuzu, usikathukane, uthukane uphuma kumuhame, umuhame kaThedza, uThedza kaMdlwane, uMandlwane uphuma kumadzikane, isizukuzuku samaThedza. I can take you back to the 1400s with my ancestors. You can go back to 1700 with your own grandfather, but you want to tell us about 700 AD. Come on now. Come on. And people will believe you. You don't even know your great-great-great-great-grandfather. Let's go back. Let's not lose focus. So, the Tlotle who speak Giqhigwi, I said I like them because the language Giqhigwi has a prefix Gi. The prefix Gi in Giqhigwi is the same one you find Ki in Kilobedu. So that proves you Kwi languages also had amahlelo ezibizo. Noun classes, noun prefixes. Because another Kwi language uses the prefix si, as in simwa, for a skin, which is like sikumba basically. That si is a prefix. It's a noun class. So I've figured out 2 noun classes now. 2 noun classes. Si and ki. The Tlota people now, Amangwinwe, Amangqeshe, speak Giqhigwi. They're also known as Batwa. You find a lot of them ended up becoming Zulu through clans like Oduma. Others became Sutu through clans like Bakwena. So they took the clan name Bakwena and became Kwena. When they moved over to Mpumalanga, they became Ngwenya. In fact, I've got a picture of the Qhegwi in Mpumalanga. I have a picture of the Qhegwi in Mpumalanga. These ones. These are Xegu in Mpumalanga. And then these are your Tram in Cape Town. Tram Kake. Now, the Xegu were not alone. They were also with Gane. I've spoken about Gane extensively. Gane now, these are the ones you will find amongst Mpondomise, Amabhaka, Amampondo, Baphuti. Amagqangqe, Mpondomise, Amabhaca, Amampondo, Baphuti, and Bathembu. Amagqangqe, what they used to do, they used to work with the Thembus, especially Amajumba and Amampondomise, Akwamdichwa, to go and steal cattle from Europeans. Well, to take back cattle from Europeans. After they take that cattle, they go to Amabhaca in Eastern Cape. They exchange, they put the cattle there with Amabhaca. But Cape Town was inhabited when Abelungu arrived. Who said it wasn't? Who said Cape Town was not inhabited? Glory Hunter. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the same subject we're talking about? But who even mentioned Cape Town here? No, you said, but Cape Town was inhabited, as if someone mentioned Cape Town. We're not talking about Cape Town here. We're talking about Eastern Cape. We're talking about Ganga people. So what are you on about? I feel like you guys are just obsessed with Europeans, man. Anything that will include Europeans, you want to talk about it. Sugaman. This is exactly why they've raped your country. Because you want to glorify Europeans in every single instance. We can't talk about anything. We can't talk about anything. You want to include Europeans, your grandfathers. Go worship them, lick their asses. Go to Cape Town, go to Sea Point, they're there. Bow before them. Praise Europeans. You love them. Magir, stop making noise about European stuff here. Nobody wants to hear about that. Haibo, we can't breathe. We can't even blink our eyes. Hi, the Europeans, the Bantu migration. Fool! Nobody wants to hear that nonsense. We want to talk about indigenous affairs. We want to talk about Qinga Sikhukwa. We want to talk about Qinga Sikhukwa. Don't talk about European nonsense with me. These people did not even exist 3,000 years ago. Why are you talking about some pale-skinned, green-eyed ice beasts with me? Go back to your Neanderthal homes and leave me alone. Amagqangqe, then they would take cattle from the invaders, the Europeans, and who also came with their descendants, the mixed breed Kayen. They came with them to create buffer zones. You know, they brought mixed breeds from Kamdibu and Nweba to places like Ngwenga, Kat River Valley. They brought mixed breeds even in what they call Griqua land, which was occupied by Amazolcho and Amampondo. They put mixed breeds there, created buffer zones. So the Ganga had a very smart way of stealing, which is basically taking back the indigenous cattle, the Gomagu, from the Europeans. In fact, one gentleman from the Amajumba Bathembu called Silai, he went and joined the Ganga under Ngabai on one of their expeditions on how to take the cattle. So they did a very early form of reclaiming and cleaning the indigenous cattle. They would take the cows from these concentration camps, which were called farms, still called farm to this day, which are really crime scenes. They took the cattle, went to Amabhaca, mixed the cattle with the Bhaca's heads, and these cattle were cleaned. The Europeans call this the first form of laundering. This is not laundering. This is cleaning and cleansing the evil that was brought by the Caucasoid beings who go around invading indigenous lands and taking what is not theirs. They were not stealing and they were not doing money laundering with the cattle. They were cleansing. Ngabai was the king of the Ganga. In fact, the Ngabai descendants are still there. Kutsolo, to this day, they are still there amongst the Mampondoms. You can go to Tsolo, Mampondoms, ask for the Ngabai people. They are there. Those are Kwe descendants, like all of us. So the Ganga Some of them went and crossed over to the Drakensberg. So this is the second group now. Remember, I talked about Tlautle. Now I'm mentioning Kanqa. Amabhaca, you find them all the way to Utsolo. Like where there's a Mampondomse, you will find Amabhaca. Kutsolo bebekhona. Mount Frere bebekhona, Mount Fletcher bebekhona. Akhona amabhaca up, they can answer for themselves actually. Akhona amabhaca up. Omjoli, Owushe, Ogamedze. You find them throughout. That is the Ganga people. Now, if you go to southern Lesotho, you find place names like Kutin. You find place names like Kutin. You ask yourself, what is Kutin? Well, it means place of wind. Windy place. Windy place. Kutin, it's wind. Ukuqutha. Ekuqutheni. In fact, Mampondomse even say emoyeni. Mampondomse even say emoyeni. That is the second group in the Drakensberg. The third group in the Drakensberg. Now, these are the more long-established people. We'll call them the Khatsi and the Tatsi or Chatsi Kwe people. The people of the Eland. Oshes. Ongube. The people of the Baboon. Amamfen. Now, when you say shays, remember, you're literally saying light skin or golden appearance. In fact, in isiZulu, another way of saying Bushman is to say shays or shays. That's why you get the river, Mchays, which is Bushman's river. These were people who lived further north, but also in proximity to the Drakensberg. My ancestors come from these groups. Kanzi. We say Kanzi. It's another way to say bush, which means Hlati. When we say Hlati, we say Kanzi. So now what you get is Amazizi, Amabele, Amahlubi, who had been originally around the more eastern side, Lubombo. They get there, they incorporate these people I mentioned here. Born at themselves, they had come from the Chwa peoples. They had descended from the Chwa peoples in the east. Remember, the Tsonga, there was a group called Chwa peoples, the Chwa and the Twa and the Chwa. These are the ancestors of most of these people. Abambo. Now, Abambo, I explained it thoroughly that from Ukumba to dig for minerals, mining communities, metallurgists, Bayemba, Izimbiwa. In fact, Imbo is a golden stone, which is gold really. That's why elders used to tell us, Ungalahli Imbo, ngophoyiyana. Don't throw away your golden stone because of temporary pleasure. Embo is not one place, I promise you. Where I'm from, when we say Embo, where my mother is from, when we say Embo, we say Embo, Kwela Mangwane, where the Ngwane people lived. In this case, particularly what used to be called Natal, when it was still a colony, Amangwane were there, Ohlongwane Ganj. What that we call that Embo Tina, where I'm from. So when there's rain coming, City Hamba Uyembo Kwela Mangwane. We don't say Iya Embo e Congo. No, we never said that. In fact, kumibongo yesiXhosa, when you refer to Emampondweni, you also say Embo. However, now I wanna correct this because Amampondo themselves don't call Emampondweni Embo. Do you understand? Amampondo nabo, they call the next country Embo, Kwamachi. Exactly, there's someone, yes. But Ramampondo, when you get there, Bonabazoti, Embo, Kwamak. You get what I'm saying? So, Embo, we just know generally as a direction towards KZN, basically. That's what we call Embo, Tina. Now, what I'm saying is now, it's basically that golden meridian from Bondoland to KZN to Libombo. Yabo. That golden meridian line, that is Embo. Because most of the gold has been found in those regions on the eastern side. Not that there hasn't been gold in other areas, but those regions is where most of the minerals, copper, gold, were mined. Yeah, born. It's where these things were mined. It has nothing to do with Congo. Ingenabi, Embo. You must ask Pungane the third, King Pungane the third. He's the one who said people come from Congo. He's the one who said people come from Congo. Umgadi is it's a watermelon. It's a watermelon, my brother. Hey, I let me see. I think I have notes about Abantu Bakwamgadi. I think I kept some notes. So Abantu Bakwamgadi. Let me see my notes so that I can explain. So abantu bakwamngadi ngabantu bakwangema. Ingadi is a sweet melon. It comes from an old story that they found a field with melons long ago and settled there. Babizwa ukuba ngabasemangadini, but ingadi yona it's melon. It's melon. Uyabo. Ngabantu bebehlala noMalandela ke during the time of Malandela they were together. Abasemangadini abakwangema abakwamalandela. These are the older clans of what is the core of Zululand, really. Uyabo. So Papa Komhlathuze nasemfule, these are people from those areas. So ngabantu baphuma uyabana kangema. Ungema uphuma kuntusi kamafu. Ngamangadi ke yabo. Uyabo. Ngamangadi. In fact, long ago, interestingly, they baphuma kumalandela straight. Originally they used to be called Gumede. They used to be called Gumede. Long ago though, I don't think they still use it now. So abantu yinzala kaMalandela baphuma kusendelinye noMalandela. Oze kuve besithi sehla ngesilulu, isilulu lisende. Lumalandela naye aphuma kulo. So abantu bakwangema ke, abantu bakwangadi emangadini, they are definitely the same. I have a long history about them actually. So baphuma kumafu, but I can definitely say uMalandela is one of their oldest ancestors. And then their clan praise uGumede. Bona baphuma kumafu in the 1650s. Umafu yena wazala uNtusi in the around 1675. Untusi Umnguni, there's no evidence that there's a real person called Umnguni. It's a new thing from 1930s, from A.T. Bryant. All the old history of Amazulu aphela kumalandela straight. There's nothing more. Iphela kumalandela indaba Amazulu. After that, it's group history now. At an individual level, uMalandela we know is a real person. But Nalabo, it may be a nickname. It may be because uMalandela is also like a bird. It's a bird that follows cows. It could be an oxpecker. It could be in reference to a bird, like it's a nickname. So you have uMalandela. Some generations down the line, you get Umafu. Umafu wazala uNtusi. uNtusi wazala uNgema. uNgema wazala uYabana. uYabana wazala uMlaba. uMlaba wazala uSithenjwa noMadlokovu. This is around in the 1680s, yabo. uSithenjwa noMadlokovu, from uMadlokovu kuphuma uSigodo uSigodo, kuphuma uZembe, kuphuma uMbandama uMbandama, kuphuma uMhlekehleke, kuphuma uBusinkosi, kuphuma yena uZembe wazala uLokothwayo noZazini Ozazini. uMbandama yena wazala uZweli, wazala uMbabala, wazala umbongeni ngema lo wakuSarafina. ubongeni ngema uzalwa nguMbandana, uMbandana kaMadlokovu okanye kaZembe kaSigodo kaMadlokovu uyabona. And then umhlekehleke yena uzele usigcwelegcwele ngesikhathi sikacetshwayo between 1873 to 1884. Umhlekehleke uzele usigcwelegcwele. Usigcwelegcwele ke ngokamhlekehleke and bekayinduna yebutho ekuthiwa yingoba makhosi. Ugcwelegcwele bekayinduna yebutho ekuthiwa yingoba makhosi. Yena vele bekangoyena umuntu phezulu kwangema in the time of ucetshwayo. Usigcwelegcwele ke bekahlupha kakhulu. He was a very notorious guy, not only as instigator of the famous Imboza, ibutho lakhe bekuyimboza okanye ingoba makhosi ele bekayinduna yabo. He was part of that. He was very notorious. He used to fight for ucetshwayo kakhulu. So in the time they were putting ucetshwayo as inkosi during his coronation, he was involved in a fight, but also he was the discoverer and convenient idea that ukuhlobonga with one sister. So uGcwelegcwele wakwangema, he's the one who came with an idea that you can do something called ukuhlobonga, to have intercourse with someone from the same clan. Yabo. So there's a long history, man, very long history of abantu bakwangema Mangadini. I have it here. I think I recorded it long ago. So he came with this idea of ukuhlobonga, having once started the practice in his own family. It was soon adopted by Mangadini youths in Zululand. Of course, invariably repelled the suspension when taxed. Among all other Zulu clan, such intercourse remains as ever naturally repulsive. So ezinye izizwe bezingayenzi bara yaqalwa nguye usigcwelegcwele. I don't know why he did it, but it's not someone from the same family, but it's someone from the same clan. People do these things, guys. Hey. And then from Inzala ka, I want to see who is this. Ubusinkosi. From Inzala ka Mhlekehleke kukho Ubusinkosi. From Ubusinkosi we get to uCabeka, we get uMgitshwa, we get uNtsinyana, we get uNhlenhle. Inzala ka Businkosi, inzala ka Lusizi, sorry. Inzala ka Lusizi leyo. uLusizi uzalwa ngumdunyelwa, umdunyelwa uzalwa nguBusinkosi. And then uNhlenhle yena uzele umjoli, wazala umyeka, wazala umyaba. Onene bona baphuma kuSithenjwa kaMlaba kaYabana kangema kaNtusi kaMafu. uSithenjwa wayengumfowabo kaMdlokovu. Indaba ke yaseMangadini lena. Amangada aphuma kumalandela. Zininzi izizwe ziphuma kumalandela ke. Besides ezizaziyo thina, oZulu, oNtombela, oQwabe kanje. Izizwe ezininzi besebenza uGumede ke phaphambili. Besebenza uGumede. So ngamangadi ke lawo. Fortunately, I had kept this history long ago. Umjoli lithetha ukuthini eligama? Hey, there are two things. Kukho ijoli, which is a color of a cow. Brown body, white tail. Brown body, white tail. Kuthiwa ijoli inkomo enjalo. Sometimes ibizwa ijoli inkomo. Ijoli inkomo. So that's where I think most of the names take it from. But also umjoli, you could also say umgwebi. Uyabona? Umjoli usungathi ngumgwebi because uyajola. Ujola izinto, ugweba izinto, uyabo. Injalo ke litsho lo gama. Ugumede liguma elide. Iguma ke sisivalo, it's a screen. It's a screen for the hut. Ungquphansi. You see the hut we live in? The door needs a screen. The screen is made out of reeds sometimes. Umvalo. So ngumvalo omde. Or isivalo eside. Ugumede lo, igumelide. uQwabe yena Uqwabe is two meanings. Kunoqwabe, which means the wildcat. In isiZulu, it's also called incwabe. Now, ligama lesithwa eli, and I like it very much because it shows you the affinity of these nations, Zamantungwa, who are Kwe themselves with the ancient language of Nkwe. You know that old language called Nkwe, which was the closest language to Omani. Ezo Zamantungwa vele nje, they have these names, yabo. Uqwabe lona, you find Basotho have a name for a wild cat, which is the red cat, the red cat, the rooi cat. They call it Kwabi. Kwabi. So Kwabi, same thing, wild cat. Now there's another form, which I think Kwabe is a wild cat. Ne? I'm satisfied with that. But long ago I came across another meaning, which I think is good, because that shows how deep isiZulu and Kunkia are. Someone was saying Kwabe is a bow, a musical bow, a big one. I know it's Kobe in Kunkia. A big musical bow is Kobe. So I was happy that, they even have a name for a big musical instrument. Kobe, ikwabe. Ukuletha intuthuko, ukuthuthuka guys, ukuthuthuka kuphakama. So ukuthuthuka kuphakama, you know. Into xa iphakama iyathuthuka. For example, in isiXhosa there are old names like uthuthula. Uthuthula uyaphakamisa okanye ukuqhuba, to push something forward or to lift it up, uyayithuthula. So intuthuko then is a noun form of ukuthuthula. Intuthuko is development, upliftment, pushing forward. Intuthuko leyo. Ukuletha intuthuko is to bring development to a place, really. Let's go back to the people of the Drakensberg. So I've explored how Kwabe is the wildcat in those Kunkia languages. It's the same one you find amongst Amazizi. The name Nwabe amongst the Amazizi. Bano Nwabe is one of their ancestors. Nwabe is literally the wildcat. It's Kwabe. It's Kwabe. It's Nwabe. It's Kwabe. It's Kwabi. All these are in reference to the wild cat. Now, these people who lived in the Drakensberg are still there to this day. Ezamahlubi, ezamabhele, ezamangwane, ezamazizi. People don't just disappear. Abatwa don't just disappear, guys. Don't buy into this idea that Abatwa are disappear. They didn't disappear. Bangabaphuti, bangamazizi, bangamabhele, bangamazulu, bangamachunu, bangamachube. As knowledge grows, we learn more about each nation and we can restore who they are. Like Emampondweni, there's a place ekuthiwa yiNcaguba. Icaguba is a Kunkia word which means a snake or a cobra. Caguba. In Eastern Cape, there's a place called Kamama. It's a Kunkia word that means snake. Kamama in Kunkia is a snake. Senyokeni. And in KZN, there's a place called Senyokeni Vele. Uyabona? So for me, it's a redeeming reality that you must understand Abatwa are exactly where they were. Ozungu, Osbia, Omalandela, Okwabe. These are what you find as Abatwa today. The fact that we welcomed people from East Africa, people from Asia, people from Portugal, and they mixed with our people somewhere, somehow, changes nothing. Akukho Bantu migration eyenzekayo. It has never been, it will never be. It has never been and it will never be. City Abatwa. Ha kwaba ayixoxe sayixabanisa. Abangengobatwa siyabazi. And I started with that when I started this session. I started explaining who's who. Uyacamakusha kucanza usanzanzo ohlanga omvelweni usidulu ngube emhlophe. Uncagala usandlalanca kuthiwa phala kuhle ngoba lendlela iyehlela wabona bulawe ngathi ngumthakathi ziyalila intombi zithi mfondini ikhawundi zeke mina kenzalwa kwamanzi wathi unyelenzi umaphanga ungqala unqake nxa sinoqoqo uqhama uwele liyobe phambili iphusa mthetho oyini bafazi bensikile tshona iphaza mthebati sidungu ngoba lithenyo lesifazi ngutsiba nkulu kayuthu nguntaba kahili ngusiqasomile somelo zingazintshaba koma zikambiko zikamancamu zikamlawo siyacamagusha siyacamnca siyanqula sithi makube chosi kubehele xa sisitsho. You see the Kwabe twins. If you see the Kwabe twins, you see Kham people. If you look at the Kwabe twins and you don't see these faces, just look. They look like the Kwabe twins. Look at the facial structure. I'm stopping now, my people. I'm gonna be back at 8:30. I called for the Europeans, they didn't join. I called for the Aboriginal First Nation imposters, they didn't join. I'm gonna come back in the next live. I'm dealing with what it means to be native in the European mind. Agri Europeans came with these concepts. Let me show you. Let me show you. In the Cape Colony, for instance, the practice is to describe in every aspect. This is the answer of what native means. They say any Kafir, any Fingo, any Zulu, any Musutu, any Tamara, any Kwe, any Kwi, any Bechuana, any Kora, any Aboriginal native of Central Africa, but shall not include native while serving in any. So what I'm saying is Aboriginal native and native, they understood it as meaning the same thing. When they spoke about native people, they spoke about Aboriginal people. Now you've got imposters trying to steal even the title of native. They're trying to steal even the title of native now. Guys, we are the native, we are the Aboriginal, we are the Indigenous. There's nothing that's going to change that. That's exactly why in Google to all the addresses start with NY, which means native yard. I'll be back in 2 hours. I invited the Aboriginals and the whites, they didn't join. So we're going to continue like that. If you've got questions, you can ask on another live. This one is going straight to YouTube. Toast.